United States, this is the Multitapped podcast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of the Multitapped podcast. Today our subject is going to be a little spooky, and we mentioned it last week. We're going to be going over horror. So this week we are joined by myself and Mr. Jason Lewis from, I'm sure you guys remember from last week. And then this week we are also joined by Daria from Daria Place, and Mr. Matt Ezero, Cygnus Destroyer, the LJN Defender himself. And he's even wearing a shirt for the occasion. So.
Oh yeah, Friday the 13th.
Yeah, everybody in Multitap was pretty excited when we said that we were actually just going to do this as the next topic, just because, I mean, yeah, we all play video games, but the group's also kind of movie nerds and stuff like that, so we get excited about stuff like that. So without too much blabber, let's go ahead and jump into it. I know that, Matt, you recommended that we start with Friday the 13th, as I'm pretty sure it's the favorite franchise. Also,
yeah,
it was the first video
of horror movies, definitely.
Your review for the game, that was actually the first videos of yours I ever watched. It was good.
Oh, cool.
But
Did you enjoy it?
I mean, it was good. I'd heard about the game, and like I mentioned this last time, I'm not super familiar with the NES library, so I'd never seen it beforehand. So it was definitely interesting to finally see what everybody was talking about. But yeah, why don't you go ahead and get into it? I'm going to be honest, I'm not super into slashers, but I'm familiar with these movies, so if you just want to take the floor.
Sure. I mean, it started in, I think it started in 80?
Yeah,
when it first came out? Yeah.
13th, 1980, yeah.
Yep. Sean Cunningham was the guy behind it. Of course, what some people might or might not know is that they get this wrong. It wasn't always about Jason Voorhees. Of course, the killer in the first one, spoilers, was his mom.
Pretty
Pam
sure
Voorhees.
Scream spoiled that one first.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure that's pretty common knowledge now, but, you know, maybe not everybody knows it. But yeah, it really started to take off until Jason became the main dude. And then, you know, once he got the iconic hockey mask, which that didn't happen until part 3, because he had the sack in part 2. But yeah, that's absolutely one of my favorite horror franchises. The Evil Dead trilogy's up there. The Romero zombie films, those are up there as well. Of course, Nightmare on Elm Street. But yeah, I think if I had to choose one as my absolute favorite, I would have to absolutely be Friday the 13th for sure.
Definitely. And just to add, I'm going to let Matt get back to it. And I'm going to tell you guys, I know firsthand that Mr. Ezro's favorite is Friday the 13th because there was an incident, and there is proof. If you want to watch it, you can go find it. I'm not going to tell people where it's at. He did have a run-in with something, and he did copycat kill it in the style of Tommy Jarvis, or I think it was
Tommy Jarvis. Yep.
Tommy Jarvis. Yep. Yes, and I know it was. He didn't make it up because he was in the heat of passion, and he still killed him just like Tommy Jarvis.
Oh yeah.
So Matt is the truest form. Until you can kill something like one of your favorite slasher films, you're not truly a fan.
Yeah, I was totally Tommy Jarvis. In the final chapter.
Exactly.
Yep.
I saw the blood too, so it's real. It was not staged.
Oh yeah.
It was not staged at all.
It was absolutely real. Yep. Got those primal instincts. Ah!
It was, dude. It was. The audio may never be released fully, but I have it. So,
yeah.
Yes.
See, what I like about those movies is, first of all, I just checked, and there are 12 of them. It's one of, like, the longest slasher franchises ever. But my favorite thing about the movies is I always really liked the Jason kills. Like, in the whole Freddy versus Jason argument, we're talking about people being strung up above campfires and cooked alive in sleeping bags. Like, that's classic. Come on, that's just a meal. You're ready to take that with you. It's good to go. Or Jason X, which has literally my favorite slasher kill ever, which is where he takes the woman's head and, I'm pretty sure.
In the cryogenic, like,
freezes it solid and then shatters it. Oh, man.
And of course, also in that movie, during that simulation part where they simulate Crystal Lake, and when he picks up the girls in the sleeping bag, he kills the one girl with the other girl in the sleeping bag. That was just fantastic.
I mean, it's great. I remember, I want to say this was like my 8th grade year, something like that. I was homesick, and TNT was doing like a horror movie marathon, and they were doing all the Friday the 13th movies. And I'm like,
yeah. Yep.
I don't think I've seen these before.
Network, they air those all the time.
And I'm just sitting there watching it. I'm like, okay, kids making out in the woods. This seems, I wonder, so somebody's going to kill him. That's a trope, right? And then all of a sudden, like, a machete comes through the back of the tree or some shit and just, like, comes through his throat. And he's, and I'm just like, these are amazing. Okay, yes. I see the appeal. And what's funny is like
are.
I don't even really like slasher films and like gore porn horror film that much. I'm not really super into them, but it's just Friday the 13th, like as a franchise, is just it's so iconic. You know what I mean? You can't really knock it for the tropes when it's the one that invented those.
Yeah,
Created those tropes.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's just it feels right. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel forced. You're like, this is how I would write it. Like,
Absolutely. Yeah, there's nothing like that. And like when it came to the remake, it felt wrong. I mean, I own it on DVD, but I just don't like that movie. It just it didn't feel at all. I only own it on DVD because I found it for like $2.
I gave him my money, but it felt.
Dude, that was
I didn't actually give it. Like,
that was
you.
That was the greatest slip of all time. You know what I mean? It didn't feel right. I bought it anyways, but it didn't feel right.
yeah, they took money.
Hey, wait, listen. Let's be fair. I bought it used, so it wasn't full price. So it was $3. It's in the bin. Why not?
Oh, yeah.
No, it's no. It was. Yeah, it didn't. None of the remakes felt any good. Friday or Nightmare Friday.
Texas Chainsaw. Yeah, none of them.
Well, I don't know about Texas Chainsaw. We won't go into that.
Texas Chainsaw was really good. I'm sure we'll get to it.
We won't get to that. Yeah.
When it comes to slashers, the original Texas Chainsaw is my favorite.
I mean, it's fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Film, sure.
It's like you were saying with the Jasons, like all the kills were so over the top and just like it was all about the special effects. And then when you got to Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which really was kind of set the stage for the genre, it was very crude and very raw. Like that to me.
Actually, that was like pretty much the first slasher film, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
That came out in like 76.
Yeah, it was late 70s.
Yeah, 70s.
Yeah, I believe it beat all of them.
The thing that I really like about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and I know I mentioned this last time, and I'll talk about it when we get in. It's going to come up over and over again. The thing I really enjoy in horror is I like believable characters, believable stories, believable sets, and practical effects.
Yes.
Like, if it feels real, then I can get into it. And what's good about Texas Chainsaw is it was so crude and so prehistoric.
Yes.
And in fact,
absolutely.
a lot of the time, the actors didn't know what was going to happen because they wanted real reactions. So a lot of those, the reason, she's screaming, getting dragged into the house is because she didn't know she was going to get dragged into the house and is fucking terrified. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it feels so raw and real. And
Nothing
especially because they were
kills the
filming on
immersion.
a shoestring budget, too,
Yeah, but nothing kills the immersion faster than just stupid characters. When they write the characters to be stupid so they can just, kill them off easily, I don't care. Like, those characters, you don't care what happens to them at that point. But it was like in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you kind of you care, like the fat guy in the wheelchair. It's like, no, like that was so disheartening when he finally bit it.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the old classics are like that too. Like, you get the same kind of vibe with the original Hills Have Eyes and things like that. I mean, a lot of the old horror, I think that's why it stands up so well. Is like, since it was so primitive, since it was so crude, since they're trying to figure out how to do it, it just comes off so visceral, like tangible. You can feel it. It's good.
Definitely.
I mean.
Yeah, I agree. I would like to know something before we leave Friday the 13th, or if we stay on it, because I don't know of anybody I've heard of who's mentioned it, besides maybe me, because I've talked to Hicks about it. Mr. Ezra, what do you think about the Friday the 13th game, the first licensed game, I believe, since the original NES one, coming out this year, both on PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC, and the style of which they're doing it?
I think it could be pretty cool. I mean, you can play as Jason in that, right?
My understanding of how it's, well, I'm sure you already know this, Matt, but like a lot of the original,
I don't know all the details.
A lot of the original directors, casts, all of them, or have come back.
I do know that they brought back Kane Hodder.
Yeah, Kane Hodder did the CGI or the motion capture stuff for. But the idea that I've heard that is really interesting about it, apparently, because they don't have like a demo, I don't think, out yet, but. The idea would be, it's like, okay, so they'll have online play, which is interesting, because like how do you do an online play for a game like that? But apparently what they're going to do is you get a number of people in, and you start off, and one person will be selected to be Jason, and all the rest will be counselors, right? And so the idea being is just like, I guess in any of the COD or Halos, where there's one character that's overmatched against the rest of them, right, with abilities or whatnot. But the idea being is the counselors... You want to survive and be the one who either kills Jason or makes it to the end, but at the same time, you have to work together in order to trap him and move him. Because if you go individually off on your own, you'll be picked off real easy because you don't have you're just not going to be a match for him. Mm-hmm. But if you work together, there's certain things in the environment, and you can do traps or whatever and try to kill him. So it sounds actually like it could be pretty cool, because the deal with them was like you could all kind of like pretend like you're working together, but then if one person gets trapped, you guys can just go fuck him, run away, and let him get killed, and then Jason comes after the rest of y'all. So it actually could be an interesting game, and it sounds like they're putting some serious money, some serious thought into how it's going to work and everything. Hopefully it looks good. That would be my only thing, I guess, that could really sink it. But I'm kind of interested in playing. It's supposed to come out October this year. This is the release date.
Yeah, the premise sounds awesome.
Yeah, I would absolutely play that.
I love games where you can just like stab your partner in the back.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, you're not helping me now.
Exactly. So I'm excited. I think it's gonna be good. I'm glad they got like Kane and some of them, because I think having some of those people involved helps solidify for me the fact that it's just not going to be a money type maker, that they're actually going to do it right. Because otherwise, if they didn't do it right, they wouldn't have their names attached. Yeah, they wouldn't get the license and all that. And that's what they said. They said they were trying to make a movie or a game based off of that, but not using the character because they didn't think they could get the license. But then I guess apparently they heard about or the producers Friday 13th, they heard about what they were doing and then said, okay, that sounds good. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and give you the license. So
actually, I think I know what you're talking about now. I remember like 2 or 3 years ago reading about an indie horror project where it was going to be a game where it was going to be like a bunch of like high schoolers in a school, and one person played as like a slasher killer who wasn't Jason and could like, phase like they went over powers and concepts and like, that sounds really fucking cool. I'd sign me up. So to hear that is probably what we're talking about, and it just got picked up and licensed and turned into this. That's awesome.
Yeah, it should be really amazing. Fun. It should be fun.
That'll make it a better game. The fact that it was a solid game first, and then they just were like, well, let's attach a license to it instead of starting with a license and then okay, let's put some bullshit code in there.
Yeah, that's pretty rare that happens. Like, I don't think that's normally the order that goes down.
No, generally.
Yeah, but it looks like it could be really good. I'm definitely gonna keep my eye on that.
Yeah, I'm excited. My big dilemma now is to buy it on PC or Xbox One. That would be I probably will go PC, but I don't know. Xbox One, it's always nice to have a game to play on it. I have not played my Xbox One in some time, but I'll probably go PC though.
I think it'll be easier to find other players on PC.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, so but yeah, I just wanted to know your opinion on that, Matt, because I know since you like the game, I figured you might know something about the that project. Since we'll see it in like 7 months, I guess. It'll probably be right out around Halloween when it comes out.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it'll be out by then.
Oh yeah, the chat has spoken. They are all voting for PC, by the way.
PC? A bunch of PC fucking snobs.
PC Master Race.
Yeah.
Popka, how can you be PC? That thing's like got a Dorito as a chip.
Microsoft, man. Xbox.
No, I'm talking about he can't play it on PC, Yeah. Oh yeah, he's Xbox. You're right. The original Xbox. Be fair, because when people say, "Oh, I got an Xbox," they're like, "Oh, you got an Xbox One?" No. 360? No. There's only a 360 and an Xbox One. Oh, you mean that other piece of shit? Yeah, the one I can still get for $10. Yeah, I hate my fucking Xbox. It always breaks. It's a piece of shit, man. The Xbox is just like stop working left and right. That's why, like, I have my Halo Edition Xbox. I'm not even like playing it because I'm like, at this moment, it still works. If I could use it for like an hour, it may stop working. Then I've got a very heavy paperweight.
Keep it function.
I did pay like $50 for that one only because it's the Halo Edition. I don't want it to stop working. Then I got to deal with that shit. So
my Xbox is currently dying a slow and painful cancerous death.
You just got the regular one, or do you have a special edition?
It's I think it's the Call of Duty black one.
Call of Duty black one.
Isn't there black? It's a special edition black one. It's a game I don't play. It was black. That's why we wanted it. So
the original Xbox?
Modern? No. I'm sorry.
Yeah, because they're talking about the original.
Oh, we're talking about the original. Out. Shit, Daria!
Still break. It's okay. They're still busted.
Damn it, man. We let people in and they get off track. I was like, there's no COD fucking Xbox regular. I was like,
1948 Xbox? Yeah, no, that'd be sweet.
It's super rare. What are you talking about?
It's super rare, yeah. I made it in my own house. No, yeah.
You threw it in a 360 shell.
Well, no, you have, and that's a good question. You have a love for Xbox. Would you ever buy one of the two special editions that we had here in America?
What, like the Mountain Dew or the
Mountain Dew or the Halo? I think that's the only two officially There's some other like prototype ones or whatever, but I think that's the only really two.
If I found a Mountain Dew one cheap enough, I'd be like, yeah, that's a nice color, but otherwise, no.
Okay. What's cheap? Because it would be fair that even the Xbox special editions aren't very expensive. I know what they go for. Like, what's cheap for you?
I'm at a yard sale and some guy's like, give me $20. You'd be like, okay.
Oh, yeah, that hurts.
$3 and a paperclip.
Yeah, I pay that too.
Okay. Because they go for about 100, which is actually not bad considering most system variants can go for a lot more.
Why are you haggling over Xboxes right now?
We're not haggling. I just want to know what kind of fan she is.
Away from price charting original Xbox.
No. She's one of Derek and Avalanche Jarrett's disciples. Those RPG peeps. So there's a lot of whereas like for me, there's hardly anything I will play on Xbox. There are some things on the Xbox, PlayStation 2, 360 that they'll still go back and play from time to time. So I'm trying to be interested. You know what I mean? Damn, Don. You know, get off my nuts, motherfucker.
Jeez, I see how it is. We can fist fight about it, Jason. We can take this outside and throw down in the lawn.
Fisticuffs, yeah. Exactly.
Well, generally speaking, RPG people on the Xbox is sort of an oxymoron. But
ooh! Oh! You stabbed Jay Arcs right through the heart with that one. It's just like it's like Friday the 13th Part 9. Was it 9 that they killed? No, what was Jason Goes to Hell? Yeah, 9. Yeah. I'm just making sure.
Not including the remake. 9 is my least favorite.
No, well, I'm just making sure
because Jason's I want to make sure in it.
I know. I want to make sure the lore is okay. 9. That's the one that they stab him with the knife in the heart to kill him, right? Yeah, it's Jason Goes to Hell. Okay, there we go. I didn't make a mistake.
So on.
Also, for the record, looking at the list of all the Friday the 13th, I think it's absolutely hilarious that number 9, Jason Goes to Hell, the final Friday, has 3 more Jason movies.
Well, of course, part 4 is the final chapter, and then they came back after that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's fair. Sure enough, it's just.
I guess
is really it, guys.
Part 5 didn't have Jason; it had some guy posing as Jason, Roy. So, but no, they brought him back in part 6.
Well, to be fair, people were still paying money, so there was more profits to be made.
Well, okay,
that's very true.
Too. And I might be a terrible person for saying this, but I always like Jason more than Freddy. Like, I do really like the original Nightmare on Elm Street. The Johnny Depp blood fountain is absolutely fantastic. Like, few things are as satisfying as that. But
oh yeah, that's
besides
great.
The original one, I didn't like any of the other movies, and like it.
Dream Warriors. Dream Warriors is awesome.
Dream Warriors
is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ezra was in it. Did you see him? The wizard kid? That was Ezra right there.
I'll have to rewatch it. Look,
you should go as that as Halloween one year. You know what I mean?
Cosplay as well. There you go.
Exactly, man. He's right up your alley. That's going to be a good point. What is everyone's... well, I think you already said it, man. What's everyone's favorite Friday the 13th? Or at least, I guess, one you've seen.
Yeah, my 4 is definitely my favorite. For me, my favorite are 4 and then Jason Lives, Part 6. Jason Takes Manhattan, Part 8. And then from there, I mean, I like 3 and 2 pretty much equally. And then I would say, well, like I said before, my least favorite is 9. Actually, I would put Jason X probably... I would maybe put it slightly above... It's close between Jason Takes Manhattan and Jason X because I really love Jason X. And I'm probably also because that's the only one that I saw in theaters. So that's, really nostalgic for me. But, the original, I mean, that's pretty up there too. But like I said, it's so different that it's kind of hard to compare it to the others. But yeah, Jason Goes to Hell. It's not a bad movie, but I just...
You're just so disappointed.
Yeah, man, dude. You're fucking hurting. I like that movie. But okay, fair enough.
Oh, hey, if you like it, that's cool.
I'm with it. It's all good. It's all good. No.
Because if I'm going to watch the Friday the 13th movie, I want to see Jason Voorhees. Well, except for one. I want to see Jason Voorhees, not all these other people possessed by the spirit of Jason Voorhees.
I got you.
That's just lame to me, but hey, if you like it, that's cool.
I got you. I'm going to rewrite a script for you where you're going to jump from soul to soul and, attach it to people, like in the group or bigger YouTubers, Like, if you like Jason, and you'll come in there at the end. So, and you don't like 9. Come on, man. Come on, man. Jeez.
Hey, I don't hate it. It's just my least favorite.
I got you. Alex, what do you think?
I'm not that familiar with them. I have marathoned them, so they all kind of bled together at that point.
That's funny. Bled, that's a good word to use.
So, I mean, I guess the first one probably stands out just because it was the first one that I watched. So I'm not. This isn't a very good question for me. I'm sorry.
That's fine. You just picked.
It's kind of like the Ramones, though. When you marathon, they definitely kind of where do they start? Where do they end?
Yeah, I was always more of a Nightmare on Elm Street person anyway.
Oh, that's a good topic to talk about too. What do you think, Don? What is yours?
Well, it makes me feel a lot better and less nervous hearing Matt say that he actually likes Jason X, because that might be my vote for favorite. And it's not because
Jason X is great,
the best or anything like that. It's like, okay, I want really ridiculous campy shit if I'm watching a
it's
slasher.
totally campy.
You know what I mean? And they're like, we found this fucking serial killer corpse in space. Let's defrost it and see what happens. Oh my god, it's killing everyone! Like, it's so funny. I don't know.
Guys, he just wants his machete back.
It's
so cheesy.
It might be my favorite just because it had the same it has the snakes on a plane satisfaction. It's like when I went to Snakes on a Plane, it was because I wanted to see a bunch of snakes on a plane. You know what I mean? That was the whole reason I bought the ticket.
And that movie definitely delivered.
The story was terrible. It was horribly written. It was just one-liners and stupid scenes.
A movie like that, who cares about
the point? Why did you go? Did you think you were sick? And so, like, when I saw Jason X, I'm like, wait, Jason in the future in space on a spaceship? This better be fucking ridiculous. And then I watched it, and I'm like, oh, this is exactly as ridiculous as I wanted. 10 out of 10, great. And then besides that, part 3 is really nostalgic for me because I think that was the first one I saw. I think that was the one that when I was watching it on the marathon, I was like, whoa, okay, cool. So that's what these movies are like. All right, sign me up. That's not too bad. But it's good. Definitely one of my favorite horror, slasher franchise. Definitely my favorite slasher franchise. And it's actually kind of funny that you mentioned that you really liked the original one, but you thought it was weird because it doesn't really feel the same as the rest of them, right? Because in my mind, that is the exact description I have for the Saw movies. Like,
okay.
I'll
admit for those, I don't have much familiarity.
I've
only watched the first Saw.
Oh my god, look at that little Jason. That's so good. Oh, man.
Did you get that from your kid's room? Does he play with that? Or she?
No, he does not.
Oh. That's a shame.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, I thought that was that was really weird because I couldn't see where that was coming in. I didn't see your other hand. I was like, holy shit. That was kind of scary there for a minute.
I lost his hat. Oh, well.
But that's how I felt about the whole Saw franchise. And, admittedly, I'll be the first person to say it. I don't like gore porn movies. I wasn't into Hostel or anything like that. You know what I mean?
I like those movies.
I don't.
But, the first Saw was really interesting to me. It was really creatively written and shot and left you with a lot of questions and it felt small and good. But then it just took off and they got the new directors and they turned it into that yearly shit they have now. And I never liked them. One I think is amazing. Saw 1 I think is a really, really good fucking movie.
Yeah, they just got, from what I understand, I've seen little bits and clips and whatnot, but they just got way too ridiculous and over the top with the later ones. The first one, it was just so small. It's just pretty much them and the Carrie Elwes and the other guy in the room with, what turns out to be Jigsaw, for the majority of the film. And that's great,
I went
to have
to
such a compelling movie, with, just that, very little to it.
I went to see Saw 1 in theater. I was super excited for it. And it was I agree, it was a really good movie. I think it was the best of the series. It did piss me off how just, again, this goes back to my problem with horror movies when they make the characters stupid. And they made the cops really retarded. There's no way those cops would have gone in there and not called for backup. That totally killed my, what the fuck are you doing? It's the writing sets it up for disaster just by writing the characters down. But as far as gore and just suspense goes, it was an excellent film.
Yeah, I could see it. It's just, I don't know. Whenever I see that they're doing another one, it's always just just stop already. And I think last year they said this was going to be the last one or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm
pretty sure they're done. I don't believe they. I don't.
I think they are done.
I don't.
I would be. I saw bits and snippets. My roommate at the time was working in a movie theater, and I saw bits and snippets of the 3D one, and it was just oh my god, just put this fucking dog down. Which, for the record, is not me ragging on 3D horror. The 3D My Bloody Valentine. Oh man, that was a good time. That was another one where I just went in just not expecting a lot, and it totally just delivered on over the top ridiculousness. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that one or if you saw it when it was in theaters.
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
I didn't see it.
The first kill of that movie, okay, And keep in mind, I'm sitting there in my 3D glasses like, oh man, this better be worth the ticket price. This is going to be fucking ridiculous, right? These kids are like, on a high school like retreat or whatever to an abandoned mine where there's, some legend, a hiker, serial killer, whatever, right? And these two kids are talking, and like the camera's straight at the guy's face and he's talking, and it's like a close-up shot. And then all of a sudden, a pickaxe comes through the back of his skull and out of the eye socket with like the eyeball on the end of the pickaxe. And
Nice.
so like as this pickaxe blade with the eyeballs coming at you and blood splurting out, I'm like, okay, this is gonna be pretty good.
Yeah, that's
Right,
awesome.
this one.
So, was the 3D one a remake of the original My Bloody Valentine, or was it the same movie? Because I know I've seen.
I think it was a remake.
It was a remake. I haven't.
Okay, I've seen the original.
but
I
I
haven't
knew it
seen
was
the
a remake.
remake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm the exact opposite on that one, but it's just I think 3D horror can be done right. I think it's just very difficult and tricky to do. I think if you wanted to do a serious like horror film, there's absolutely no way. But if you wanted to do like a campy like slasher deal, totally like spot on. You can get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I didn't rewatch it. I'll have to go back and see some of that stuff. But since Ezra was hating on 9, I don't know why. I don't know why he's hating on 9. I will say this: I think the worst one, absolutely to me, is 5. And I'm pretty sure I'm on.
Really?
Jarvis was in 4. Well, he was in 4 and 5, correct? But
Yeah.
the kid one
Oh, and
was
6.
Yeah. Well, the kid one was 4, and then 5.
Yes.
5 to me was just.
Well, there
weak.
was the
Yeah.
cameo of.
Yeah, I didn't like. I just didn't like
But that was
5.
kind of like a flashback kind of vision thing.
Yeah, 5 is like I think it was like a quick rush for me. I didn't really. I liked 4 a lot, and I liked 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, 5 was definitely the worst. 5 is kind of like to me Halloween 5 almost. Whereas again, a great idea starting with 4, and then 5 was just like a rushed mess, and then 6
See, I
really liked.
I thought you were gonna say Season of the Witch, Halloween 3.
No, Season of the Witch is a great movie, man. And I don't want to go off on that because that's a whole other thing. We'll wait for someone else to talk about because we don't have Mr. Cody, who is obsessed with that series. But no, yeah, I like Halloween or not Halloween. Friday the 13th, Part 9. I don't know why. I think to me that's where that series kind of got that grittier look. It's a little more. I like it because it's a little more serious. I'm with you. The series is kind of ridiculous, but they did stuff in there to me that was really bold, like actually blowing up Jason and doing what everyone should have done, which is get the FBI involved and have like 50 guys just fucking obliterate and shell him. That's what you would do if you really found someone who was undestroyable.
Okay, I dig the concept. I mean, that is cool. Like I said before, the spirit of Jason kind of possessing all these people. That's cool, but I don't know. The tone just seems so far removed from the campy ness of the '80s, and that's why I don't really dig it so much.
I got you. I get it. I think it's still worth a watch. It's a very interesting film, and of course, then
of course the ending is absolutely.
Oh, the ending's
cool,
yeah.
The Freddy glove. Grabbing the mask and bringing it down, teasing Freddy versus Jason. Like, oh my god!
Well,
yes.
that was a huge establishing.
Little did we know we'd have to wait like another 10 years to get that movie.
Yeah,
but
I think the ending too, the way they killed him in that was really nice. I know again people shit on 9 because they don't like it, but the way the hands dragged him down and everything, I thought that was really well done. Where some of the other ones, you could say, oh yeah, they just kind of he hit him in the head with a chainsaw or something. That's the hands. I will say that I think what they were trying to do, and someone did better. Which is probably one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Which is, I'm trying to remember the name of that movie. Was it Drag Me to Hell? Or it was about the lady. Yeah.
Yeah.
Has anybody seen that?
Yeah, Sam Raimi film.
I love
that is
an
excellent movie.
Yeah.
That's a remake.
It was. But I will say that end scene, which was perfect because it was like the perfect time to do it. The way she got pulled down into hell, that's, I think, what they probably... had they had the technology, maybe would have been going for. But that's a really good example of an idea I think that they did with Jason. But if it had the special effects at the time, would have been awesome. Because that last scene is that's pretty boss. I remember watching. I've watched it a couple times on Rewind just to see it. I'm like, damn, that was pretty well done. The movie's okay, not anything super good, but yeah, that end scene's pretty good. So yeah, anyone ever seen that? Sorry, go ahead.
Drag Me to Hell was excellent. It's actually a remake of a 1950s movie, 1957 movie.
Was it? Yeah.
Good
movie. Yeah. If no one's ever seen it, I feel like it kind of got shit on. I mean, I remember it came out with fairly good reviews, but I don't think it was like really well received, where a lot of people watched it. So if it
That's
slipped,
a shame.
if it slipped by you guys, you take a little time and watch it, because it is actually a well done movie.
Yeah, I probably should watch it sometime because I know Sam Raimi directed that.
Yeah, and
I love
like
Sam Raimi.
such a huge fan of all those movies. Like I said, Evil Dead is my favorite horror franchise.
Nice.
Yeah, like the Thing is my favorite horror movie, but The Evil Dead is my favorite franchise, and we'll get into it because that's something I definitely want to talk about. But yeah, Drag Me to Hell is fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
Not my favorite scene from that whole movie is the goat. You know what I'm talking about? I won't spoil it for the people who are going to watch and people in chat and things like that, because that is definitely a movie worth watching. It is recent enough that I don't want to fuck it. But the goat. Everything with the fucking goat, man. That movie is awesome. It's so good. It's cast well. It's executed well. It's paced well. It's good. I definitely like Drag Me to Hell. I really liked Cabin in the Woods, too. I thought Cabin in the Woods was fantastic.
That
was okay. Fuck you, Mike. Fuck you,
fucking
Mike.
Old man Lewis over here. Goddamn kid.
Goddamn, no. Yeah, I'm looking at Rewind Mike real quick before we move on. Fuck you, Mike. I didn't wreck the ending, motherfucker. Just because I tell you, because it's got a lot of twists and turns, bitch. I mean, how many times does it really come out good for the main person?
Sinks in Titanic?
Oh, exactly. It's the remake. Jesus, fuck you, man. Just go watch the movie. Don't be a weeb. Fucker.
Oh my God.
All right, continue, Don. Sorry, I didn't mean, I had to point it out.
No, it's funny. I loved Cabin in the Woods. I really liked that style of horror movie where like it's campy but well executed. You know what I mean? And Cabin in the Woods is something that I mentioned it in chat, but I just really want to see that turned into a franchise. Like, I know they kind of wrapped it up at the end of it, but I'm just saying, like, the scene where with, like, all the cameras and you see all the different countries, you know what I mean? Like, how interesting would it... Each one of those could be a fucking movie.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
they could go through and show what was happening in each site.
Like
that
in Japan, and like you know, I would love to see it turned into a franchise.
And what they should do, like they showed like in Japan one where it's like actual Japanese horror and it's a completely different genre. It would be great to go and do spoofs of all the different countries.
It's something that I think they could do. I think it's something you could really get away with, and I wish they would. Like, the casting in that movie is so fantastic. Like, I know there are a bunch of really goofy characters in it, and I'm pretty sure the stoner in that movie is my spirit animal, and I can't wait for them to actually start making that coffee mug. But, like, everything with, I want to say, and I might be getting the actor's name wrong, he was Thor. Chris Hemsworth, is that right?
Yeah, Hemsworth, yeah.
Yeah. Fucking killed it in that movie. You know what I mean? Just it was so good. I love Cabin in the Woods. Everything about it's so good. It's good. It's probably my favorite recent horror film that I've seen.
I think if you went into it expecting a slasher horror movie, like a straight up, you would be disappointed with it. And unfortunately, that's kind of how they advertised it in the trailers. But when you sit down and you realize, like, this is just an over-the-top satire, it's brilliant.
Yeah, that ending is amazing. The whole ending sequence.
Yeah, everything about that movie just sat really well with me. And it's because movies like Drag Me to Hell and Cabin in the Woods, and I understand, you know, Sam Raimi did Evil Dead and stuff like that, but they really feel like Evil Dead to me. You know what I mean? And I just, one of the first, like, horror movie night experience I ever had, right? The very first movie we watched as a group, and this is 7th grade, I want to say, right, was Evil Dead Part 3.
Army of Darkness, yeah.
Yeah, and Army of Darkness is classic. And
I actually watched Army of Darkness well before, like years before I ever saw the first two. I had no idea that it started out as a horror movie.
I thought it was its own, like, movie.
Like, exactly.
Because it stands alone as its own over-the-top fantasy film.
Yeah. You really don't need to see the first two to enjoy Army of Darkness.
No.
Not at all. It's great.
It's a completely different genre, almost.
Totally, yeah.
It's just... those movies are just so enjoyable in so many different ways. Like, if you look at Army of Darkness, right? The fact that it's like, you know, all these horror stereotypes and zombies and corpses and things, but then they mix it with the medieval, and it's like, yeah, he's still got a fucking chainsaw hand. Yeah, it's totally still Ash.
Yeah, it's like, let's take
and you toss it, like, the slapstick humor and all that. It's fantastic.
Yeah, it's like, okay, let's do Connecticut Yankee and King Arthur's Court, but it's a 80s grisly horror movie. It's just awesome.
It's great. I like that feel, and Cabin in the Woods and Drag Me to Hell really have that feel, you know what I mean? Like, more so than the original two Evil Deads. Though I really love how they do the original two Evil Deads, like how they're kind of like the parallel-ish sort of universes and all that jazz. Like, it's sort of different stories. It's not like an immediate thing, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Everything about those, the tree rape, classic. The laughing heads, classic. Like, I love those movies so much. It's hard for me to not gush. I go to Las Vegas a lot because I have a lot of friends out there and I work out there with occasionally, you know? And every single time I'm in Vegas, I go and see Evil Dead the musical. Every single time.
Oh, sweet.
It's so good. I mean, even the musical is absolutely fantastic.
Even the remake was pretty good. Like, yeah, I was not disappointed in that at all.
I actually haven't watched that yet, but I heard that they really turned up like the gore factor in that, like it's to almost a disturbing level. Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like it. I think it was too much, but yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I know you haven't seen it, but yeah, it's like it was a little bit. I don't like that shit with the new stuff like Hostel and some of those. Even Saw to some extent, but yeah, I mean it. Yeah, I think it ruined it to me. I mean, I think it was good, but I think that kind of violence ruined it. Too much.
I think it was fine. I didn't think
it didn't bother me.
Missed it. I was going to say that's probably one of my least favorite horror sequels ever. I know that some people like that movie, but
what horror sequel?
Prometheus, because it's technically an Alien sequel.
Prequel. That's a sci-fi though. That's a sci-fi. That's not a horror. Would you consider it a horror?
I absolutely refuse to watch Prometheus.
I would consider it sci-fi theme, but I would consider
bordering on horror. I would say I would count.
I mean, in the same way that you like Evil Dead isn't a straight horror film. You know what I mean? Like, I think it is very possible to hybridize the horror genre.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess so. I liked Prometheus. It wasn't really good, but I did like it.
Yeah, I just thought it was a joke. I'm like,
do you guys have more hope for the next one? Or not?
No.
You're done with it? Okay.
Zero stock in it at all.
Alien is dead. They've killed it.
Oh, Alien is dead. Oh.
It's dead.
You didn't even like the thing with Aliens 4 with the thing they were going to do with Ripley and Hicks and get rid of Aliens 3? You didn't even think that could save it? Or Aliens 5, and I guess sorry, I keep forgetting that Resurrection happened.
Yeah, you said Aliens.
My bad.
Like, no.
I have there's like a certain spot in my head, like a car crash that I can't remember, and that was Alien Resurrection.
No, she didn't.
No, why the fuck is she an alien? You know? Ooh. No, yeah, I really do forget that movie was actually part of the series.
Everyone should forget that exists.
Exactly. So forget that ever happened. But no, I mean that I think that had a lot of potential. That whole. Alien, even though it erased my favorite Alien, and I will go on record as saying Alien 3 is, I think, the best film out of all of them.
I love Alien 3. It got so much hate back in the day.
It did. It kills me.
Excellent film.
It is. I'm not really too fond of the director's cut, but I could see where he was going with it. But I still think the original cut is awesome, and I don't think anyone says any difference. It's like crazy. Oh, Alien 3 sucked. Are you serious? Did you watch? Were you there? Did you watch the film? I mean, what the fuck? I mean, it's beautiful. I mean, you got to have something to come off all the drugs and shit that you had in Aliens 2. I mean, people just fucking blowing shit up and faces melting. You can't just do that again. You know what I mean? So that's why Alien 3, I think, worked so awesome. It was back to that single style. And what was the guy's name? The main prisoner who carried that movie. Can't ever remember his name. Excellent actor. He's kind of like mother of God. I suck at actors' names. This is why I can't.
I'm trying to decide if I should save you with IMDb or
put it in IMDb. No, I'm thinking of two actors, and I can't even remember the other actor. I was gonna go reference the original actor. I'm totally fucked. I only know like a couple black actors' names, and that's like Morgan Freeman, and definitely it's not him. What the fuck? He's one of my favorite actors too.
Oh, I know who. Oh God,
Charles S. Dutton.
That's right, Charles S. Dutton. That motherfucker.
I got you, baby. No worries.
That motherfucker is awesome. I had an
English teacher that looked like him. I spent the entire time sitting there like, oh my God, this is the guy from Aliens.
That's awesome. Be like, oh, were you ever in jail? No, please go away. No, Dad. He was great. He was great. He really, I think he got overlooked in a lot of places in that film because of course Sigourney Weaver and what was the other guy? Oh no, I guess it was just them two. But yeah, that really carried really, really well. I love it. Alien 3, you got to sit down and give it a chance. If you don't like that one, then watch the director's cut by buying the special edition, and because it changes the movie big time. But
Jesus,
yeah,
they get a percentage cut each time they sell a copy.
Yeah, Alien 3 today. Yes,
I mean, the
give me
only
that
way
Alien
to
money.
experience it is the Blu-ray collector's edition.
It is the only way to experience it. Well, when I grew up, I had the VHS, so I only ever knew that there was just one cut of the film. I didn't know that the second cut was around. And that's weird too. Speaking of which, I don't know what's going on with that, but some of these second cuts that are coming out are I'm not sure if I'm for them or against them. Like I just got the Halloween thing that came out back in, was it November? Where they finally released the director's cut of Halloween 6 officially on Blu-ray, because for a long time you could just get barely a there was like Matt probably knows what I'm talking about. There was nothing but like really blurry footage that someone leaked out of the original cut of Halloween 6 because they had to go back and they basically reshot like 50%.
Oh yeah, they
no, but then they finally released it on on Blu-ray, and I got it, and I like it, but I don't know. Halloween 6 is still one of my favorite, but I have a feeling you may see more of that shit as it comes down. Either they remake the movies or they release some different version that people want it. Like, isn't
that's the thing about that. I mean, I've never seen that cut of Halloween 6, but from what I've heard, that's actually the superior version of the film.
That's debatable, though. I mean, here's the thing. It's like, because I didn't want to watch I didn't want to watch it years ago because it's like I've seen the cuts of it and it looks like someone basically had a VHS tape on the screen and then took a camera and then filmed it, and that's how they got it.
That's
and it looked
pretty much what
and it looked like shit. And I was like, I can't rate a movie like that. That's not fair. So with them doing the the restored re-release on Blu-ray, I was like, okay, I might actually give it a shot. That's why I bought it day one when it came out. And I'm the fucking nerd who was trying to get a re-release of a movie that was released like 15 years ago at Best Buy day one. They're like, we don't have it. We don't know what you're talking about. Fuck you. You should have it, you jackasses. You got shitty crap like Cabin in the Woods, but you don't got Halloween 6. Represent, motherfuckers.
God,
but anyways, but no, you know what's weird about that, Matt? Is as much as I like 6, and it is kind of strange. You could definitely tell they did some really weird cuts in that movie, so it doesn't flow quite as well. They reintroduced this whole thing with that where he's being controlled by a person in the cult.
Yep.
Which is not satisfying whatsoever. So I'm almost kind of with them as like, okay, maybe it's the superior cut, but I think it's kind of weak. The fact that he's a bitch boy. They turned him into a bitch boy thing. It's almost like what they did with Freddy vs. Jason, but at least Jason turned on Freddy. Michael Myers never turns on anybody. He's just, he's the bitch boy. It's like, come on, are you kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? I mean, the whole bit and the thing where the end where the Paul Rudd, this is where, and if anyone wants to know what Paul Rudd, which we all know him as Ant-Man and a bunch of other bullshit he does now, got to start.
I always think of that creepy stepbrother from Clueless.
Paul Rudd, that was one of his.
That's what I thought first.
I believe that's his introducing role, if I remember correctly. As everyone gets their start, everyone gets their start in horror movies. Jennifer Aniston in Leprechaun with the big nose and shit like that. But yeah, man, all he does is draw a fucking pentagram on the floor in front of Myers, and then Myers just stops, like he ran out of gas or fell asleep, and he just stands there, just like, hey, it's like that fucking what was that? The Texas Chainsaw Massacre Atari game. You're running to some phantom thing on the ground and you can't move. You're like, oh, we're stuck. So much of fucking bullshit, man. But no, the movie could have been better. But yeah, they've ruined it. Oh, go ahead, Alex. I hate calling you Daria. I don't like it.
Director's cut that pissed me off was, hi, it's my name.
What, Daria?
Yeah.
I like your name, Alex. I like it's cool. It's more authority. I think of Daria. I think of someone sheltered. I have a feel. You guys, she's tricking you all out there. You know what I mean? I think Alex is a better name. Like, I get this feeling that Alex could, like, fucking kick my ass. Daria is like, Alex is like,
they could both kick your ass, to be fair. But for director's cut, the one that really pissed me off was the ending for Army of Darkness.
I did not see that. What does that entail?
I actually like that ending.
Okay, so the theatrical
apocalyptic ending.
Yeah, the theatrical ending has him. He goes back and he's at S-Mart, and the zombie shows up and they fight him in the store.
Yeah.
Like, I like that. That's what I grew up with. That was class. Great, I'm dying.
I can fill in for you what happened there. Okay, so in the the original cut of the film, what happened was when he goes off after saving the day, he goes into the cave there. He's given these drops or whatever that will make him, like sleep or whatever for the time to get back to where he is. And Ash, being the bonehead that he is, I think he's told to take 6 drops. So Ash, being the boy that he is, he accidentally takes like 7. And then when he like wakes up and you see the time passing and you hear all these horrible, almost horrific sounds.
Oh,
and this huge beard and whatnot. And then he wakes up and he opens up, gets out of the cave, and he sees everything destroyed from like nuclear apocalypse or whatever. It's like, no, I slept too long. I love that ending. I almost wish that's what they had kept.
That kind of sounds good.
That actually is okay. As far as I know, the S-Mart ending was only in the U.S. and maybe like a few other countries. Pretty much everywhere else, that is the ending to Army of Darkness.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and Raimi prefers that ending. I think that was something that the studio wanted him. They didn't like that ending. They didn't like the tone of that ending. So like, yeah, you should make something more happy. So yeah, I think he just
the movie was just so.
I mean, I agree with you.
And funny that
it does have that nostalgic value for me. That's why I do love the S-Mart ending as well. But yeah, that apocalyptic ending, that's perfect to me. That just can't be beat. I love the tone of that. It's like, because that's totally Ash. He would screw up like that. He's so stupid.
Yeah, he would. You make an excellent point.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so did you sway her back over or no? She sounded like she might have been convinced. She
sounded
like she may have been convinced.
She was being polite.
I mean, your point,
but
I
change their stance on LG Endgame. So
exactly, innocent to proven guilty.
I don't go quite that high, do I?
I can't. No, probably not.
I don't know about that quite. That
I don't honestly know which one I like more, because I've seen both of them, and I think the one I saw originally was actually the Apocalypse one, because like I said, it was at that party, and I think it was the DVD, the director's cut, so I think that was the first one I saw.
Probably did, yeah.
But I like both of them, because, I mean, the thing about the S-Mart one is it doesn't have quite as much of an impact as, the crawling out of the cave one does, but it still feels really Evil Dead. Like, it really feels like Army of Darkness, you know what I mean? So I don't think it's bad. I think they're both good. I think this is kind of like apples and oranges. I think they both have their merit.
No, they both work in their own regard. I mean, like I said, the apocalyptic one where it's like, yeah, Ash would screw up like that. But then it's also like the S-Mart one is so satisfying. It's like, yeah, Ash kicks ass one more time. All right,
Yeah, it definitely has that feel, and it's especially just because everything with S-Mart is so iconic, the line, like it just it feels
Job smart,
it's like a callback, you know what I mean?
I think that's what bugs me the most is when you're watching the movie and you expect to hear it and you don't. It's like, aw.
It's true, and I mean,
yeah.
I think I heard the one-liners from the franchise before I ever saw any of the movies. Like, I'm pretty sure I heard "This is my boomstick" before I ever saw Ash ever. You know what I mean? It's such a good series. See, my thing is, and this is something I kind of wanted to get your guys' opinion on. Where is the line for too much? And the movie that I use an example of too much, where it's like too goofy and not really horror-y enough. And this is a movie that I either like or hate depending on the day. I can't make up my mind on it, which is why I want everyone's 2 cents. Mm-hmm. But what about From Dusk Till Dawn?
Love it.
Love it? That's the Ezra vote?
I totally love it. I've loved it since the first time I saw it back in 1996.
It's an excellent movie.
Yeah.
Okay, because there are days where I'm super into it, and I'm just like into all the one-liners and everything, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like when the tone switches and they all the monsters and shit. It's like,
it does a complete 180.
I'm super into it, but there are days where it feels super forced to me, and like I don't know if maybe I'm just the only person. It's just like I have a hard time consistently suspending disbelief when I watch that movie. Like, sometimes it's great and I eat the popcorn, it's fantastic, but sometimes it just drives me up the wall.
What movie? I missed it. I'm sorry.
Wait, From Dusk Till Dawn.
From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh, that's an excellent movie. Yeah.
Yeah, which once again, I'm not, because Kat is also agreeing it's a good movie. Like, I'm really not trying to shit on it. Like,
the way I look at it, I mean, this is a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah,
I mean, he didn't direct it, but I mean, it's, the concept is by him. Yeah. So the fact, pretty much one of his trademarks are his movies like changing genres and whatnot, like on the flip of the switch, just like that. So it totally makes sense for it to change from this like kind of like the standard heist movie until this supernatural vampire flick. That totally for Quentin Tarantino.
I do have a question and a comment on that. Does anyone know when that came out?
Yeah, I think it was 96, 95 or 96.
Somebody IMDb.
That's not right.
95, 96. Here's what I'm going to say about that movie, and I kind of could see where 96. Don's coming from. What? 96?
96, yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
so I was
96.
right.
Here's what I would say about that, and maybe this is probably why, because I kind of can see it now what he's talking about maybe with this. To me, that movie only has that kind of an impact, I think, to me, because when I saw that in 96, you know, I was probably 15. Well, I didn't see it the year it came out, but I probably was about 15, 16, so a year or two after it came out. And I saw that movie on like HBO or Showtime. And at that time, you know, that tone, that look, that kind of comedy, but still kind of serious, gory with tits and shit was kind of in with some of the different movies from that era for the horror stuff. And like Tales from the Crypt is a good example. It looked a lot like Tales from the Crypt. And I remember being still young, so I remember getting like kind of freaked out and scared by like that and Demon Knight and some of the other ones that were out around that time. And so I think that's probably one of the only reasons I could really say why it holds up so well for me is because I was still kind of young enough to, you know, be a little creeped out by some of the shit that was out in that time frame. But I could see somebody like Don, who's how many years? If we asked this before, you're like 8 years younger than me, right? Something like that. Don?
Yeah, I turned 26 this year. I was born in 1990.
Okay, so definitely Don didn't see it. Well, I mean, he probably shouldn't have seen it when he was 7 or 8, but I don't know when he saw it, but yeah. I mean, I think Ed, you saw it like years after the fact, after Clooney had gotten bigger and Tarantino had obviously had some bigger hits. It might have been different.
Be a big part of it because, like I said, I enjoy the movie. I by no means think it is a bad movie. There are just some days where I can't get into it. It's just so hard, and that might just be what it is. Is like seeing Quentin Tarantino, seeing Tom Savini, and just being like, what is this? What is going on right now?
Yeah. It's really hard to take Clooney serious in that movie. I think if you didn't, because his career at that point was pretty small. He had started doing some campy shit, but he's actually kind of a
he was still the guy from Roseanne.
Yeah, but he still had that badass thing going. And then of course they figured out that he was a face and they could make him all pretty and do crazy bullshit after the fact. And then it kind of ruined his image. You know, now he's kind of like, I don't know, Frank Sinatra or something, when I think he played a much better bad guy in that movie. So maybe that's why it's hard to look at, because he is kind of a puss.
He's had some good roles in some Coen brother movies.
A few,
that is something
but
I would
still
love
it's bad.
To get into. I could do a whole episode on the Coen brother movies.
Oh yes,
Barton Fink, Hudsucker Proxy. My god, I would love to get into that.
He's a good actor, but he killed the Batman series, hands down. Fucking blew the fuck out of that.
I don't think that was his fault.
It was his fault. He accepted.
No, that's bad.
He was no. If you get the call and you're a major actor and you know, like, oh well, they want to pay you a truckload of money, have some fucking scruples.
If you're gonna blame anybody for that,
No, fuck that. Have scruples. Deny the role. Go, no, you guys are smoking crack. You want me in your movie? Are you fucking kidding me? Let's just get Bozo the fucking clown. I can't. Schumacher was already smoking crack. He should have turned it down.
They cast Bruce Wayne. They never cast Batman. And Clooney I can see Clooney as a...
That is the best argument I have ever heard for that. Oh my god.
It's a good argument, but it don't make any sense, though. I mean, he knew what he was doing. Fuck Clooney. Son of a bitch. You should have turned it down.
It doesn't need to be said, but I'm saying anyway, best Batman is Michael Keaton. At least best film Batman, Michael Keaton. That's my opinion.
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Best Batman.
Who?
I mean, I'll give you that.
The animated series voice.
Yes.
That doesn't count. It's drawn.
It doesn't count. He has been more Batman movies than any other actor.
Oh,
he has been Batman longer. He is. I mean, that's like saying Mark Hamill is the Joker.
No, what I'm saying is, but he's not playing Batman. It's not him in the suit, though.
I think her argument is still totally valid. I mean,
it's a separate.
But I'm totally going to sink my teeth into this.
It's a separate category,
though.
The
Joker. When you think of Batman, you think of the voices and from the animated series. You think of the character.
No. But to be fair, the animated series is a whole nother topic.
Jason, you're H-ass. You're like, oh, fucking Adam West, give me my fucking grappling hook and shark repellent. But
Adam West was awesome.
I'm just saying animated series because it's so excellent deserves its own separate category. I don't think you can say he's the best Batman though. He is voiced it the best. Yeah,
film Batman.
Yeah, you can't put him up against the other Batmans. But yeah, and I agree with you. Batman was an excellent series. Him and like you said, Hamill did really well with that. So no, Keaton is the best. There's no one beats Keaton. Not Bane. What's his fucking name?
Christian Bale.
He's real low on my list. I don't think he did make a good Batman.
I don't really like
He was.
The Christian
I
Bale
love
Batman.
him as an actor.
Yeah.
He is badass as an actor. He's a prick, but he's badass as an actor. But I don't think he did
He's a
justice
crazy
for Batman.
motherfucker as an actor, but
Yeah.
I
that was bad.
I like those Batman movies. I think they're good Batman movies, but I don't think he's a good Batman.
right.
Yeah,
It's a joke. Where's she?
Yeah.
You know, like
Totally.
it's a fucking joke. But they're good movies. Like they're solid Batman flicks.
Yeah, they are. They're
But
good movies. Yeah.
I guess
Dolly Popka wants us to mention The Lost Boys, which is an excellent movie.
What?
I
A
will lay
Schumacher?
my tongue on this one, but
Wait a
Really?
minute.
I don't play a lot with that vampire
Maybe we should
shit.
hold off on that. So
I
mean, they don't glitter or
Jake
nothing.
can actually get in on one of these.
Oh yeah, don't get me fucking started on that fucking shit. What was that called with the glitter people? What were they called?
Twilight.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, and I'm
The
not
best
gonna
to
go.
come from Twilight was the vamp commemorative dildo. I would like to say
I have not seen that, but
There
I
was
heard
it.
that
There
will probably show up in the
was-
chat before
is
too long.
chat will
that's
love
funny.
this. The vamp is the Twilight commemorative dildo that
Yeah.
is white silicone that sparkles in direct sunlight and is designed to be put into the freezer to have that corpse-like feel. And by far, I think that is the best thing to come out of the franchise.
You know, I applaud them for the
I'm sorry.
science, but how often do you masturbate out in the sun? I know I don't do that. I mean, I'm just gonna say I'm gonna be fair with you. I mean, I'm just now thinking about it, and I don't know how many times
Okay.
my wiener has actually touched the sun, other than when I take a piss outside.
How often are you masturbating with dildos, though?
Me, I'm not mad. I mean, what's the point in that? You know what I mean? I don't feel bad about myself. I mean, masturbating with a dildo sitting next to you is like making me feel bad about myself. You know what I mean? That's just like, no, okay. Well, apparently they make them better in China than they do from where I came from.
To digress and get back to the original point, I guess.
Yeah, because I was gonna say this podcast is totally derailed.
Really quick, it went from Batman to dildos. What I'm trying to make is, I guess I do like hybrid, like comedy horror films, but I think they can be done badly. Not saying Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah,
is
like
badly.
Shaun of the Dead. That's one of the best.
Yeah,
Oh,
Shaun of the
exactly.
Dead.
Yes.
Amazing.
Fantastic
Holy
film.
Shaun of the
shit!
Dead.
We were watching The Walking Dead the other night, and I'm talking to my husband. It's like, when are, I just want to see them try to do the Shaun of the Dead thing where they just shamble out there and try to blend in.
Yep.
Like, that was brilliant. That was the funniest shit I've ever seen in a zombie movie.
Totally.
To be fair, too, I might tell this whole story some other time, but I honestly thought that Hot Fuzz was decent. Like, I
Yes.
mean,
I love that.
not,
Yes.
scary.
Oh yeah, all of the Cornetto films are
in
good.
horror moments in it. I didn't really feel it at World's End. I didn't. I mean, I didn't.
Oh, I love that movie.
I mean, no, it's a good
Yes.
movie. I'm just saying it didn't really feel horror-y. to me.
Oh, okay, I got you.
But I very much still got that vibe off of Hot Fuzz. I don't know if I was
Sure,
the
yeah.
only one who did.
Yeah, very nice.
I also like the one where they were bar hopping.
That's
That's
what
what
that
it
was.
was.
That's what that was.
Yeah.
That's what that was. Yeah, I know you guys can't see it, but I'm just showing everybody how much I love that movie. I still have my HD DVD copy of Shaun of the Dead, so that's the only way I watch it. Fuck Blu-ray and Sony.
Nice.
So, excellent series. Though.
DVD.
Oh yeah, HD,
back.
dude. I mean, it's going through it. It's so much better than Blu-ray, and we'll have to go into that later. But fuck Sony.
Ooh.
But I guess the next big thing to talk about, getting off of horror or hybrid horror, would be indie horror. I don't know about you guys, but I'm actually really into indie horror. Some of my favorite horror films, thinking about it, are indie horrors. Not necessarily amazing, but absolutely love the first 2/3 of Midnight Meat Train. That's a good time if you haven't seen that one. I mean, title alone should sell you on it. Midnight Meat Train. Come on, that's
It kind of
good.
sounds like a porn.
yeah. It does, and
Yeah, that's
you were
it.
the first person to make that mistake. I promise you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a question, and because I'm not really into the independent scene too much, but I'm kind of curious where it would fall in, because I remember watching, I go, wow, this could be a horror movie, or this could be some kind of other movie. Where did Hobo with a Shotgun fall into? Because that was pretty graphic, and I don't even know if I would consider it to be an action. Do you know what I'm talking about? Does anybody seen that
I've
movie?
seen.
I
I
do.
own that
I do.
movie actually. I don't think it's a horror movie.
Where would it fall in, though? I mean, it's
Yeah.
that's tough.
Technicality would probably be action, but you could probably even push it towards thriller. In all
Okay,
seriousness,
thriller. Okay, so borderline the thriller line. I could see that. It's an interesting movie, but it's like so graphic that I remember thinking, wow, this could be like a kind of a weird action horror thriller movie type thing going on. Yeah, it was pretty nasty.
Yeah, that started, if I remember right, didn't that start on like Grindhouse? Wasn't that like one of the fake trailers put out front? Didn't they have like a contest and that one won? And then they eventually made it into a real film?
I don't know. That's a good
Could
question.
be. I wouldn't
I think
be
so.
surprised.
Well, they did Machete.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yep,
they-
that
yeah,
became a real
Machete.
film too. Yep.
Yeah, which, for the record, Danny Trejo has a special place in my heart because Danny Trejo became that typecast actor because that's who he was. Like, he was a felon. He did time.
Mhm.
And they saw him. They're like, hey, you want to just get paid to do that shit? And he's like, yeah, sign me up, dude. I'll do it. And he kills it.
Yep,
Every
he
time
does.
I see Danny Trejo, I'm just like, oh, man, at least he's going to do a good job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think the first movie I saw him in was Con Air, and of course, yep, he was a prisoner.
Yeah, he did pretty good. Only problem I have with him is people always say I look like him. Him and George Lopez.
Oh, really?
When I have short hair, people say I look like George Lopez. When I have longer hair, some people say I look like him. So that's my only problem. He's a good actor though. That's it.
But I don't know what it is. I had a roommate for a long period of time, about 4 or 5 years, named John Watts. And John Watts was one of my favorite people in the world. We called him Ace because his favorite hobby was just watching like indie, small budget, like B horror films. And some of my favorites of all time I watched with him, like Dumplings. I know we mentioned this in the chat and we can talk about it more. Dumplings is one that I absolutely enjoy. It's one of those ones where it's not even necessarily like really scary. You're just like really unfucking settled by it. You know what I mean? Dumplings is really good. Black Sheep is one of my favorite horror films, and that's one of those comedy horror hybrids. It's an Australian horror film about a genetic engineering facility in New Zealand working on sheep, and like it's kind of like a zombie film but with sheep. So that's one I highly recommend. It's got a real good Evil Dead feel to it. Like,
And so I was gonna say it actually sounds like it's kind of inspired by some of Peter Jackson's early films, like Dead Alive and whatnot, and Bad Taste.
Dead Alive has my favorite single zombie kill of all time. The lawn.
Which one? Oh, okay, yeah.
Lawnmower, man.
Yep.
Whenever zombie films come up, I always have to just make that note that nobody has killed a zombie better than Peter Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
It is so satisfying, and I love zombie films too. The original Night of the Living Dead, the black and white one, was another one of the first, early horror films I saw.
Yeah, it was good. I like the color remake
grew
better,
up
but
watching
Yeah,
that.
that still holds up.
Still good.
That was one of the movies my dad liked to make me watch.
What does that mean? That's kind of.
My dad's kind of a film buff, so
Okay.
I kind of grew up watching anything from silent movies to modern stuff, and he kind of had a list of things that's like, this is your film education, and Night of the Living Dead was one of the movies
When
that we watched together.
When did he make you watch that?
Well, let's put it this way. I was watching Day of the Dead when I was 6.
Oh.
Okay, yeah.
So
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
so this was, yeah.
If it, there's a tip for you all. If you all ever meet Daria Plays at a con, don't fuck with her, because if she has that kind of violence ingrained in her, she will kill you and not worry
Yeah, I
about
was
it.
just trying to
she'll
imagine
leave.
that scene.
Don't be a Joe Goes Retro and be a creeper. He'll slit your throat, leave you on the fucking floor of the con, and we'll just walk away. So
Ruthless.
Is
Yeah,
he that
just-
bad? Because I think Benny has me doing a collaboration with that guy.
he got you in. He got you in the Joe Goes Retro. He tried to get me in it the other day, and I said I like Joe, but I mean no. I'll pass. It's real nice, you know.
The project sounds fun. I didn't care who is putting it
Yeah,
together. The
Benny-
project itself
yeah.
sounded
Joe's
like
a good
fun.
guy. Jason just likes busting his ass.
No, I don't like busting his. There's something wrong with Joe, and I'm gonna say this because I've tried to kind of just
Let's hope he's not
I've tried to
watching.
offset. No, Joe, I want to
I
talk.
need to start drama. I was
chat?
just
No,
curious.
no, I want to talk to Joe because there's something wrong with him. Okay, you ever have those people around you? No, let me say it. You ever have those people who are just so upbeat about everything? And I'm not just saying like religious people. They could be anybody, right? So they're so fucking upbeat, and you can't throw them off. You say crazy shit like, "Hey, you've got dead kids buried under your porch." Or like, "Hey, no, yeah, you know." It's like, what's wrong with you? Fucking get mad, get angry. What's wrong with you? Your emotion button's turned off. You're happy all the time. Fuck you. The world's not happy. So that's what I have a problem with Joe. He comes out and goes, "Hi guys, this and this and this and this," and I was like, "Joe, show me fucking emotion. Don't be this guy." And he just, but be careful. Joe may put you down the wrong path. Okay. I don't know how Benny. I don't know why Benny was doing
this
it.
would throw you off. Like that would not clash with your personality.
My biggest.
Normal people
yeah.
are like, "Oh, that guy's really nice," and you're like, there's something fucking wrong with these.
No, I've always had a problem with people who are really nice because I think some of them can be phony. Like I like that was the first thing I remember sniffing out about Matt because Matt's a very nice person and almost too nice on camera, right? He's like Matt's like the Ronald McDonald of the YouTube world, and I really hope it.
Use that branding.
Exactly, and I remember the first chat I had with him on Skype. And I was like, God, I really hope he's not like that because I'll blow my fucking brains out. And then you talk to him, and he's a regular person. You know, he's killing bats and doing shit like that. I was like, okay, there's some madness behind the niceness, and that works for me. But when you just show one side, that's bullshit. Even just being angry and mean all the time, and that's not real either. You're hiding something. So let it all flow out. But anyways, that's hilarious because he asked me to do that the other day, and I was like, no, are you kidding me? I like Joe, but no. If me and Joe ever meet at a con, Donovan and all the rest of them may have to separate us after a couple moments. I may just run the other way.
I'm just glad that, yet again, Jason, every episode, upholds his title of grumpiest old fuck who has ever lived. Like, I don't like him because he's happy and nice. Fuck him. Like, okay, Jason.
He's the Flanders of YouTube.
No,
We'll wheel you back to the home here soon. Don't sweat too much. Like...
Yeah, we could do a whole episode on Joe or people on YouTube, but we'll move on. I'm sorry, guys. I don't like to break the pattern. I don't even know what we were talking about. See, there's little key themes in my brain that trigger, and it blows up, and I'm like...
Well, I thought it was interesting about Daria watching Day of the Dead when she was 6. I'm trying to imagine seeing Captain Rhodes being, like, torn in half at 6. Like, yikes.
You know what? I was actually really sad that I grew really attached to Bubba. Like, that was my... 6-year-old me couldn't understand. It's like the nice zombie.
Yep.
Interesting.
Okay.
I was happy when he broke free and finally ate someone. It's like, yay.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a happy ending.
I'm really bad at remembering which one's which. Day of the Dead's the mall one, right?
Yeah,
No.
Dawn of the Dead's the mall one.
Dawn of the Dead's the mall one?
Day of the Dead is the military
just
compound.
be my favorite horror.
Okay,
It's not
that
like a
has
scary
maybe
movie.
my favorite standalone horror line. At the end, when the guy's getting eaten and like all the zombies are like pulling his guts out and shit, you go
Choke on him.
choke on it.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yep.
See, it's I have a really hard time picking favorites, except in horror, because when the stuff is really good, it just fucking jumps right out. And what's funny is that's my mom's least favorite, like, Blank of the Dead movie. She's like, me and your father saw it in theaters. They were decapitating zombies with helicopter blades, and it was disgusting. And I'm just...
You know, that's really funny because my mom had the same reaction. She saw it in theaters with my dad and wouldn't let him buy it. Like, you're not showing that one to my daughter. Like, the other one was fine. But specifically Dawn of the Dead, I was not allowed. It was like, no. That was the one that crossed the line, apparently.
Interesting.
Well, maybe it has something also to do with the fact that Dawn was in color, whereas Night was in black and white. It doesn't seem as real.
The Day was in color. I was allowed to watch that.
That's a good point.
Interesting. So your mother approved
I-
of these movies too? That you got to see when you were younger?
You know what? Now that I've said that, I think I was not supposed to tell my mother I was watching Day of the Dead with my dad.
Oh no! It's live now. It's way over.
Yep,
That's
it's out
hilarious.
there.
So, was your mom more sensible and your dad not? What was the deal?
I think my mom is more squeamish. Like, that's just like not what you watch with your kids. Like, that's not. And my dad is he's very logical about it. It's like, well, I explained to her this is fantasy. This isn't real. We talk about the practical effects, and she understands that these are just guys in makeup. Like, he's very matter of the fact.
I like your dad already. He sounds like a straight up guy. I like
sounds
it.
like a cool dude.
Yeah, my dad's wonderful.
See, what's funny is my dad was the same way too. He always figured himself kind of a movie buff, but it wasn't like just horror. He'd be like, "Yeah, son, you're like, you're in middle school. We can watch fucking Midnight Cowboy. That's appropriate, right? That's a movie that you should understand and be able to wrap your head around. Yeah, you want to?
Yeah, let's watch the
Yeah,
Let's
watch
do the
that
fucking
one, too.
Exorcist. Like, you know
Not
what I
at
mean?
6.
Like,
I've not watched Midnight Cowboy at 6, but we did watch that one.
That's good.
so
That's terrific.
Like, with the exception of Star Wars, every movie my dad's showing me, my mom's just being like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like.
That's like awesome. That could be. We should do something on that one day, talking about dads in movies, because I think it's a common theme that I've ever heard. Is most moms are like, "Don't show them that. What are you doing?" And that was half the way I saw my stuff when I was a kid too. My mom would work on the weekends, and my dad would be home alone. My dad like, "What do you want to do this weekend?" We're like, "Dad, let's cook some shit up and let's go rent some movies." And that's how I saw like Predator 1 and Predator 2 when I was like 6, 7 years old. I mean, that's how we got. I mean, that's a pretty graphic movie too, you know, especially with all the pussy jokes and shit. But which I didn't get until later. But anyways, yeah. I mean, it's weird. Dads seem to have like no filter, just like fuck it, watch whatever you want. This
is quality. You'll be able to wrap your head
exactly.
around.
It'd be like, oh yeah, don't tell your mom we got to watch this movie this week.
That's how I got to The Thing, because my like if I were to make a list of my dad's top 5 favorite movies, right? Like number 1 and 2 would be Escape from New York and Escape from LA. Like he loves those.
Awesome.
I always just had Kurt Russell just like slam down my fucking throat. So eventually I got to The Thing, and I'm just
You had a man crush.
yeah. To be fair, I mean Kurt Russell's a good man to have a man crush
yeah.
on. I mean that's pretty reasonable. It's like Tim Curry. There's no shame in that, you know. So,
Yeah, he was unstoppable in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
You know?
Yeah.
I would like to talk about
Big Trouble
the thing.
in Little China.
Yeah, I would like to talk about the
That
thing
movie.
next. But before we go on, I want to do a quick plug for J. Dolly Popka. If anyone would like to see anything on Ash, you can definitely go and check out Mr. Dolly Popka's review of the game, which I can never remember what it's called. Daria may know what it is. The Dawn or Day of the Dead or Army of Darkness, whatever the hell that game is for Xbox. That's actually a really good game. You should go check. Yeah,
I think you did both of the Evil Dead games.
yeah,
for
both of the
Xbox.
Evil Dead. Actually, I believe there's some kind of hidden gems on the old green machine. So you should definitely go over to Mr. Dolly Popka's channel and check those out. Because I don't think there are any other games. Well, there are this ones like on PlayStation, but those are the only ones I think they've ever made. So, but on to the thing. I want to hear Donovan's thing on the thing because I'm interested to hear it.
Okay, I said it last episode, but I'll go over it again. My entire argument for why The Thing is the best horror movie of all time is purely based on the practical effects. I know that we mentioned it earlier, and I said I was going to come back to it, and this is me coming back to it. Everything in that movie's real. There's no special effects in it, you know what I mean? So, like...
Baker, right?
Yeah, when the chest splits open, you know what I mean? When the head melts off, like burning the thing in the dog cage, all of that were practical effects. Mm-hmm. And just... every single time I watch that movie, it floors me because it you know, it's that whole. I mean, it's a trope now, but it's just, you know, being stuck at that base. You know, they did it on the fucking X-Files. Like, the best thing is I forget if it's Russian or Ukrainian or whatever it is, but if you speak whatever language they're speaking at the start of the movie, they spoil the whole fucking movie. When the helicopter's coming in and shouting at them in Ukrainian or Mongolian or whatever it is, they're literally saying, shoot the dog, shoot the dog.
Oh,
it's
wow.
the thing. Like,
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know that
the
either.
Translation.
That's really interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
know if that's a spoiler, but that's excellent foreshadowing. Should you know the language?
Yeah, like, should you know, they're just like,
Yeah.
that's what it fucking is. Like, you know what I mean? Everything about that movie just feels perfect because it feels so real. Nothing about it feels really fake. Like, who wouldn't react like that in that situation? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, speaking of favorite horror things, my favorite board game of all time is a game called Betrayal at the House on the Hill. And the whole concept of this board game, right, is everybody plays as like a stereotypical character. So like the jock or the scientist or like the high school girl, right? And everybody's an explorer in this mansion, and you explore this mansion and you build it as you go along, right? And then eventually at some point during the game, one of 85 different horror movies happens. And one of my favorite ones is an event called Body Snatchers, and it's pretty much The Thing. And what it is whenever you pass another player, you trade a token, and they're face-down tokens, and you can't look at them. But one of them is an infection token, and it starts spreading and infecting everybody. And so you have to, like, figure out who's who, and, you know, who's infected, and who's a monster, and who's not. And it feels exactly like the fucking movie. And just, you know, playing it in real life and being like, no, this is how people react in that situation. Like, it's entirely believable. The effects are fucking jaw-dropping. Like, I love that movie. I really, really do. I watch it all the time. It blows me away. It is...
Well, it sounds like your board game is referencing Invasion of the Body Snatchers and not actually The Thing, but it is the same, like...
Well, it has... You can do, like, testing
it's the
and
same
things
trope.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? So, it's just... It's so good. I don't know. It's hard to just not just straight up fanboy about it, you know what I mean? Like, as far as standalone movies are concerned, and I guess they did the fucking sequel, whatever, the few years ago. And
Prequel.
Yeah, the prequel.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute. We'll get to that, yeah. What do you think, Alex?
Yeah,
about The Thing?
Talk about it.
Yeah, The Thing, yeah.
I can shut up for a minute. I'll stop drooling.
It's an excellent movie. Like, just it definitely has kind of an alien vibe of, and that the paranoia of they don't know who it is, and that just builds so much suspense and tension throughout the film. It's just fun. Like, I don't have a big in-depth.
No, that's cool.
Even at the end, without spoiling
Yeah.
it for anybody, I mean, it's very ambiguous. You don't really necessarily know what's going on, what's going to happen, you know?
And it's like the perfect ending for it.
It is.
Like, literally, sit there and try to think of a better ending for that movie, and you fucking can't. Like, every other outcome is not as satisfying, is not as real. Like, it's so good. So good.
Yeah. You know, I just thought about it. That's the way they should have did Titanic as well. I think that would have made a better movie.
Yeah, just everyone fucking dies because it's...
Yeah, no, exactly. She's sitting there, she lets Jack sink in the water, and then she just sits there and contemplates her death before she dies. You know, none of this old lady. Let's go back to the fucking bottom of the sea to get my locket bullshit. You know, you die with him. You let him die. She let him die. I'm not back on that. People talk about that. She let him die. That's bullshit.
Let him die. She like threw him off of her.
Yeah,
you're
like
freaking me down.
Fuck you. You know, I hate that movie. Such a piece of shit. That and Avatar too. That's another joke.
Oh God, yeah.
Joke and a half.
That sometime we'll get into just...
If anyone thinks...
You're just not a James Cameron fan.
James Cameron.
No, Cameron has good movies. Oh, yeah.
More modern movies.
Oh, yeah. Anyone...
James
Exactly.
Cameron, you know, the Terminator films, you know, well, the first two, you know, those
Cameron's good.
awesome.
Aliens. Anyone in here who thinks... If you're in my chat and you think that Avatar is one of the best movies of all time and deserves the amount of money it makes, you need to go and, like, just fucking blow your brains out. You're in the biggest fucking delusion of them all. No. If you think it's the best movie of all time, that's horse shit. The movie was okay. It had good presentation, had a good story.
It
was fucking Fern Gully.
Exactly, it was Fern Gully.
I've seen the movie 1,000 fucking times with not CGI. Like,
exactly. I just didn't get like the whole thing. It's like it's breaking records. It's selling $1 billion. For what? What is there that you guys had to go see this like 10 times? Was it cool to see people's private parts in their like hair so they could connect them up? I wish it was that easy to go get laid. I'd get a beer and we'd meet somebody at the bar. Oh yeah, let me just take my shit, stick it into yours. We can have sex and I can still watch the TV and drink a beer. It's so fucking lame. I'm just saying it's a good movie, but it's not like this all-time best movie of all time. You telling me it's better than Star Wars and Jurassic Park and Schindler's List and Jaws? No, it can't hold a fucking candle. Give me a fucking break. Sorry, what were we talking about?
List. Now there's a fucked up horror movie.
It is a fucked up horror movie, man. That scared the shit out of me.
It's the most depressing horror movie.
Exactly. But no, James Cameron with that is bullshit. But no, the thing, man, like with Donovan. And I'll say this, if anyone's never seen that movie, you have no excuse. It's like $5 on Blu-ray, like in those cheap, like throwaway bundles they have at Best Buy. And it's
I got mine
perfect.
for free.
You did?
I got mine as the prequel disc. For the when Thing came out on Xbox, they gave away the movie.
Oh, that's cool.
And I was working there, so I was just like, "Oh, I got a free movie."
Nice, very nice, but excellent. Yeah, you have no excuse. You have to watch that. I mean, there's not a lot of '80s movies that I would say you have to go back and watch, but that is definitely one that needs to be seen.
It's a classic.
You have to be able to put that in your repertoire.
Came out in '82, great year.
Oh yeah, '82, terrific. Yeah, but yeah, you got to watch the thing. And I don't want to talk about it too much because, like Don was saying, you kind of like would spoil the movie, so you can't touch on it a lot.
You really should experience. Like, there are a lot of these movies we're talking about that like you can mention the ending and it doesn't really change anything, or it's one that it's fucking 36 years old. Spoiler alert. But like the thing is, it's an experience the first time you see it. And it's because it feels so real.
Yeah, exactly. I would like to know what you think of the prequel, Donovan, by the way. It's not a sequel, it was a prequel.
Okay, here's the thing about the prequels. And I'm going to be a little spoilery because I don't really care because I think it was overall not the best.
It was a bad movie. You don't need to see it, so go ahead and spoil it.
The CGI was fucking terrible, and I don't know why they did it. They should have just done practical effects because chances are, and we even see it a little bit now, seeing like mixed effects, like practical effects with CGI and things like that. Like Mirror Mask is an example of that technique that I enjoy a lot.
Oh, Mirror Mask was beautiful.
Yeah, but the CGI absolutely ruined that movie. And then everything with the UFO forward, I thought was the stupidest shit. It felt like a different movie. You know what I mean? So, like, everything, like, the first 2/3 of that movie like on the base in the ice, there are a lot of really cool callbacks, you know what I mean? Like, there are a lot of nice little tips of the hat to the original thing, and it kind of captures it a little bit, but then it gets to the CGI, and then it gets to the UFO, and then you sold the fucking farm. You know, it's game over from there on. So, at best, out of 10, I'd give it like a 5. You know what I mean? It's watchable, but good is giving it a little bit of credit.
Yeah, I think there's a trend with horror remakes. They're just not good in general.
Right.
And they just
Right,
fail
right.
to really capture the spirit of the original.
Yeah, some of them.
For the most part.
Some
For the
of
most
them,
part.
that would, but even I don't even think it's a remake. It is a prequel.
But then again,
But yeah,
of
it
course,
can't,
if we're gonna be technical here, of course, John Carpenter's thing is
Yeah,
also a
it-
remake.
It's also
was, yeah.
that is
Yep.
fair.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, no, the prequel. Did you see it, Alex?
I did not watch the prequel. It sounds like I was spared.
Did you see it?
Yeah, I did.
Matt? You did? Okay.
I got it, rented it from Netflix once. Did not like it.
Because there are things about it I do really like. Like, the callbacks they use are decently subtle and decently well executed, and you would only catch if you saw John Carpenter's The Thing, you know what I mean? So those I loved. Like, you know, going to the, you know, seeing the corpses frozen in the chairs and, like, the busted block of ice, you know, all of that's awesome. Those things are really cool. But it was really disappointing because of how highly I regard the first one, you know what I mean?
I can understand that.
It wasn't
Yeah.
even close.
Yeah, prequel was terrible. I don't even mind spoiling it because I don't think it's redeeming. In this day and age, with as many movies as there are out there to see, past, present, and future, why waste your money on something that's just a cheap knockoff of the original? Just go watch the original. You know, I mean, that's the best way I can say it. So I can sit we could sit here and spoil the whole thing for you, and it wouldn't matter because it's just that bad of a movie. And I feel bad for the actors because I think some of them, I can't remember her name, the lead actress, she was in the one I know her best from is she was Ramona in what was that big movie that was Michael Cera that came out, the one about the cartoon. Why can't I fucking think
Oh,
of
are you talking about Mary Elizabeth Winstead
Is that her name?
from Scott Pilgrim? Is that what you're talking
Scott
about?
Pilgrim, yeah, she's
Yeah.
the main actor in that.
Yeah,
she,
Mary
she-
Elizabeth.
She actually did really well.
Who's actually in 10 Cloverfield Lane, which I haven't seen yet. I've heard really good things about, though.
Yeah, but I mean, she did really good. She was actually a really good actress in that, and she carried that movie the right way. But she just didn't get a good. There wasn't a good effects. There wasn't a good script to work with. So I feel bad because it could have been good. But yeah, But then again, too, it's like why even bother making it? I remember when I heard it was going to be a prequel. Why do it? I don't get. Did we need to fill in that story a little bit? Was there really something that much cooler to see? I guess I don't know.
It felt really forced.
It was.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything quite atrocious like that. I mean, they basically took the same shots, the same kind of premise, the same stuff from the first one, and tried to call it a prequel. I was like, what? Why don't you just call it a remake? Why even bother? You know, why? What's the point of even saying that it was something like that? You think the same shit happened twice? I mean, that's within a matter of a few days. That's kind of lame. So,
I honestly think that's part of the reason why I like so much indie and like B and small budget horror is you don't encounter that as much since a lot of them are like shitty little one-offs, you know what I mean?
Right. They're not trying to think of how can we milk this.
I mean, and it's funny.
And plus, another thing is that, most mainstream horror films these days are all about the jump scares. Just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare with no substance.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong, loud noises are too spooky for me, but
I
it's
prefer
not as
movies that
satisfying.
focus on the psychological mind fuck.
It's the same reason Silence of the Lambs is so good, you know?
Oh,
yes.
Which,
I
for the
didn't-
record, that's another horror film that my mom can't handle. But the reason she explained that one to me, she's like, no, it's too fucking real. I can't do Silence of the Lambs because there are people like that in the world. And I'm like, okay, I guess that's a solid argument. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember back in the day, there was a whole debate about that. There's some film snobs or whatever, oh, that's not horror. That's a psychological thriller. It's like, no, that's horror.
It's all the
Don't be
same
lit
thing.
aside.
It's just shades of gray.
Yeah, it is. I would agree, though. I don't know if I would call it a horror movie, but it's in there in that genre, though. It's tough.
I think it could fit as horror.
It's tough. I mean, I get it. I could see the argument, though.
Horror,
It's tough.
and then there's subgenres. I think it fits under the umbrella of horror. It's not a slasher movie. It's not, a monster movie. but I think the thriller base is in there.
Yeah. It's strange, and it's weird that I think, like, for instance, I don't know how you all feel about it, but I think it's based off of your perception of life too, because some of us don't like to think that there's people out there like that, like the people in those movies, but there really are. So, like, for instance, I don't really think the Exorcist movie is a horror movie. And now, that might be a bold statement to say, but
that's
if you've ever seen it,
bold statement.
But I would say, but I say this
I don't
because
think cake is a dessert. That might be a bold statement.
No, let's be fair. I mean, there were some shots that were shocking and whatnot on that, but it depends on how you look at it. And this just goes to a whole nother thing that I won't go in too deeply on it, but I mean, if you believe that there is no, what might say supernatural higher powers, ghosts or whatnot, then you could say, yeah, it's purely fiction, right? I mean, there's nothing, that movie was, there's not a god, there's no ghosts, so obviously that's just fiction, just like Godzilla and Frankenstein and shit like that, right? But if you look at it from the other side, which is why I like it, it's like Silence of the Lambs with that thriller type of thing. I think if you have a background in any religion, really, and you do believe in the afterlife, whether it's heaven or hell or whatever you choose to believe in, then if you look at it from that perspective, obviously the things that they're showing you are shocking, but they're not shocking, be like ripping faces off and things like that, to be like what a horror movie might be, where they're just killing people out of there. That's, to me, is really like one of those scenarios where if you want to call it evil, you want to call it ghosts, whatever, that's kind of what, they're not there to scare you, they're there to like fucking like make you come down to their level and like lose your mind, lose your shit, and question whether or not there is a god or heaven and hell and stuff like that. So that's what, to me, it's like, I get it. There are some weird psychological things they put in there and to mess with it, so it could be like a horror movie, but that's why Exorcist disturbs me and is my number one, if you have to call it, horror movie of all time, because I do believe that there.
You have to call it a horror movie.
I don't think I can call it necessarily 100%, but I would say that's another one that's questionable in there. Why would you say you have to call it a horror movie?
Because I think that the things that define it as a horror movie have nothing to do with the religious aspect of it. I think the religious aspects of it are what make it really strong and what makes it resonate really intensely with some people. But I think regardless, like the atmosphere in that movie, the suffering in that movie, everything about it, it is. I mean, Lucius even mentioned it in the chat. Like, The Exorcist is near definition a horror film.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree.
And I just think that it's entirely independent from the religious aspects. Like, once again, from a visual effects standpoint, like, everything in that movie is super real and tangible. You know what I mean? Like, you can feel the pain, you can feel the suffering.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes the movie great.
Really, just scenes that stick with you, like where she's like spider walking down the stairs, like that's like holy crap.
Or the vomit scene, or the cross scene. Like, so,
I mean, it straddles the line, and it may be too because I did read, because that movie had such an impact on me. I did read the original book, and I did read the only true sequel to The Exorcist, which is Legion. You can get rid of part 2, and if there was a movie for Legion, which they, but that, even though the author directed that movie, it just got butchered. But if you read the books, I mean, that's a little bit more. That's why I don't necessarily classify as that, but I do get what you're talking about. It's hard though. There's so many spectrums on horror that you could just go on and on. It's like, that's why to me it's more of a thriller, but it does have horror aspects on it. But to me that's kind of what you were talking about earlier. It's kind of questionable where some of these fall in.
Mm-hmm. Well, in the case of, Silence of the Lambs, that was in the period there, like in the early to mid 90s, where horror was almost considered like a dirty word, People didn't want to classify it as horror. It was considered like a stigma. I don't understand, but I'm glad that it seemed like around like Scream and into the 2000s it started to be embraced again, which is good. I mean, because it's one of my favorite genres.
I think there was a period of kind of the 80s and early 90s where horror, the studios realized by putting out merchandising that they could sell to children, and I think that kind of juvenilized the genre.
Yeah, that happened with Freddy.
And then you had these movies like Silence of the Lambs that were bringing it more to an adult audience. It's like, okay, we're going to do more serious, more real, grounded movies. And I think that was kind of where you saw the split in the genre.
Well, I think a lot of it, too, is like in the late 80s, early 90s, I think horror as a genre was kind of hijacked by slasher films. You know what I mean?
Pretty much. Mm-hmm.
So, doing a movie like Silence of the Lambs as like a horror film, and it is. I mean, you could make the argument it's a psychological thriller, but I think you could also make the argument that a lot of psychological thrillers have horror elements in them. But I think that's why it stands out. Not to mention, too, that movie is fantastically executed. The casting was flawless, the acting's amazing, the score is amazing, the cinematography is fantastic. Like, everything about that movie is just stunning. I have a lot of praise for that movie.
Yeah, back when Jodie Foster actually did good movies. Yeah, I don't know what the hell she's doing. Her and Meg Ryan, they're lost in the sea of plastic surgery, I think.
Has Meg Ryan made anything in the last 10,
Not that I can
15
recall.
years?
I'm pretty sure she does work. I'm just not exactly certain what. You know, her face keeps changing.
I don't even know what she looks like anymore.
She's like that thing in Critter, you know, the aliens where they're always shape-shifting. It's like, what the fuck are you going to look like next week? Goddamn. Stop it. You were attractive. What happened? Goddamn.
Some people don't age gracefully.
For the record, she's up to a lot of TV.
I disagree with that. I think people, if they would just, you know, unless they do drugs or get really fat, I mean, I think most of the people age really well.
What I meant was some people don't take to aging very gracefully. Like they fight it and try to.
That's ridiculous.
Buy it back.
That's about as I get what that makes more sense. But I never understood that. It's like trying to fight aging is like trying to fight taking a shit. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no way not to take a shit. It's either going to back up and you're going to die and it's going to explode in your bowel, or it's just going to come out when you're sleeping. So you might as well just take the shit. Why are we fighting something so stupid?
When your career is based on what you look like, a huge part of it, obviously. I mean, she has acting talent. I don't mean that, but she's selling a face. So when she gets older, that's got to be a really rough thing to do.
Celebrities are not a good example because you're right. They make their money off what they look at. But I think average people believe that too. Like they want to buy shit to fight. What's really that wrong with aging? I mean, if you didn't, I told my wife the other day, if you didn't age and I'm like 60 and I look kind of old and wrinkly and you look like you were 22, I'd be like, what the fuck's going on? It's like, are you a vampire? What the shit? I mean, come on. That's part, and that goes back to a whole nother thing. Part of being, and that's what people forget. Part of being alive on this earth, whether or not you believe you come back or you just die and it's all over, is knowing that you will, you know, that you have a certain amount of time to do certain stuff. So when you cheapen it by doing shit like that and trying to fight it, that's just stupid. You can't live forever. Get over it. You know what I mean? You either believe there's a God or you believe you're just going to blink out of existence and be eaten by worms. So figure it out.
Wow, grumpy and existential. Nice explanation, Jason. Well played. I wasn't expecting that.
Hey, man, you guys can take it as it is, you know? Some people probably want me to get off this podcast because they think I'm an asshole, but, you know, I will die soon enough.
As long as you can maintain being the grumpiest member of Multitapped, I don't think anybody has a problem with it.
I don't think anyone else will ever be that, you know? I don't try to be. I just try to speak the truth, you know what I mean? I'm just glad there's other people who are not grumpy like me, so I can be grumpier. So.
But they can't be too perky because that's just creepy.
Yeah, then you got real problems.
No, Alex, I'm going to say that. Another thing why I started hanging out with you, and I was like, and Derek was like, hey, you know, we got to let this Daria Plays. Like, who the fuck is Daria Plays? What kind of name is that? Then I watched it, and I was like, ooh, interesting reviews. And I said, we'll see how she's like in real time. And as soon as you started throwing out fuck this and doing weird ass shit on the computer, I was like, that's the kind of person I like. But if you'd come on like Matt, like I saw your videos, and then you were in the chat like Matt, no, it'd be over. It'd be over.
No.
It'd be over. Or either that, or I'd wait till I met you in person and have a couple of drinks and be like, "Here's my tape recorder. Let's talk." Clearly, you are just too happy. Tell me what's going on.
Let's see if we can drink that stick out of your ass.
Exactly. Something happened to you. Were you molested as a child? Did your cat? Did you kill your cat? What? Why are you so fucking happy? You know.
I don't think that'd make me happy.
Wait,
very sad.
Some people fight it.
My cat.
Exactly. See, some people fight it. Anger and happiness are correct. Just use them in the right times. So.
All emotion is valid. Come on, we all read The Giver, right? We know these lessons. Jesus.
Exactly. We should know them. So I'm glad you talked about the thing, though, Don. I'm glad to finally hear you because you could tell you got passion for that movie, and I appreciate that.
It's just I have a real. Yeah. I like visual effects a lot. It's sort of like I always like mentioning An American Werewolf in London. The face transformation, real amazing visual effects stick with me, and it's just I think that's why the thing hits so close to home. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was a good movie. I don't think you'll ever see another one like it, but yeah, it's a great
absolutely
movie.
not. I mean, it's a technique that people want, but I don't think anyone's willing to invest into it. You know what I mean? Like, and admittingly, with well done CGI, you don't necessarily need to, but I think well done is not something that happens a lot. I think people just throw money at CGI and just let's pour a fucking budget in, it'll look great, and don't understand lighting and don't understand theme and
yeah. It was good as well. I would like to ask one more thing before we run out of time, because I'm kind of curious, because I'd like to see what you guys think. The campy horror movies, any of them, doesn't matter, 80s, 90s, 70s, 2000s, whatever. What do you one think that you kind of secretly like the most? And when I mean like those campier ones that are off the beaten track,
Club Dread.
The Club Dread, stuff like that. Club Dread. You could even go back and look at like Leprechaun, Critters, Pumpkinhead, stuff like that. You could do stuff.
Would Fright Night count?
Yes, it would count. It would count.
Fright Night would be my choice.
Fright Night. That's a good one. What'd you think of the remake? I believe it was the remake.
You know what? As much as I like David Tennant, I couldn't sit through it.
Ooh.
It was raping my childhood.
Oh, use that line.
Have you seen the second one? I haven't seen the second one. Have you seen it?
Yeah, yes, I've seen both of them.
Both of them.
They kind of go together as one movie.
I would like to,
but that continuation thing.
Yeah, I would like to see it, but I don't never. Isn't that the one that's like not released or something like that? This part 2. I thought someone told me I thought part 2 was like or VHS only, and someone was saying it was hard to get a hold of because I've never seen it.
It's hard to get a hold. I think the DVD's expensive. I own the DVD, so I know it's out.
Okay, maybe it's just like a low print type scenario.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to see the second one. I've never gotten a chance to. Maybe if you ever want to burn me a copy illegally, I might be able to watch it.
Do that.
That'd be cool. Illegal shenanigans.
Software.
Yes.
Yeah.
As long as we don't do it to excess like dubious, we won't have a problem. But what did you say, Don? Did you mention one? Oh, you Club Dread.
Yeah, Club Dread. I mean, I know that there are better examples, but that's a good campy horror film that I like a lot. And admittingly, I just really like the Broken Lizards dudes, but I'm really surprised. I feel like that movie's underrated.
It is. It's weird. You know what the problem was? I think in the line of when it came out, people were expecting something else. And then,
especially because they had just done Super Troopers too.
Yeah, exactly. And to come off and do something like Club Dread was really like, wow, what is this? I think it confused me. It took me a couple of watches before I could appreciate it because I was really thinking it was going to be something else. But they've been like that. It was what was it? Poodle Skirt, then
you mean Puddle Cruiser?
Puddle Cruiser, yeah, sorry, my bad. And there was Super Troopers, then it was Club Dread, then
Beer Fest,
and then they had
Slam and Salmon.
Slam and Salmon's wild. That's a pretty good, interesting time.
But
so they're all over the place. But at that time, I don't think we knew what we were getting into. We thought we were going to get more Super Troopers type shit, and it was like a total.
It's supposedly going to make a sequel to Super Troopers, but I mean, it's been a long time since I.
Well, the money.
I think they confirmed that like 4 months ago.
No, the money was in the can. The GoFundMe was already there. They blew their goal. So unless they run off with the money, I mean, we'll probably see something at some point. So yeah, that's a done deal.
That'd be cool.
So what do you think, Matt? You got something?
Off the top of my head, I'd probably have to go with like A Nightmare on Elm Street 6. Freddy's Dead. That's the one I'd have to go with because there's a lot of campy stuff in that. I mean, that's got the whole the Power Glove scene in it. I love that. It's so cheesy.
Yeah,
I love it.
Dude, I will say that that's probably the first Freddy movie I saw because for some reason I never caught the Nightmare series, but I do remember seeing that a lot. I don't remember what station or what it was on. It might have been with Joe Bob when he was doing his late night shit.
Probably,
but yeah, that's the one I remember the most. I do have some pretty fond memories of that movie. But yeah, it's definitely not good in the line of the series overall.
No.
I mean, I would say it's a toss up between Part 1 and The New Nightmare, which is the best one.
That's what I was gonna say. It's kind of funny. I mean, they have like one of the cheesiest of the whole series, and then after that, they have like the most serious in New Nightmare.
No, New Nightmare was a good one. Yeah, so I don't know. That's a tough one. What was I gonna say? It's not a campy. But I'll say it's like one of those weird underrated. And maybe it's because I haven't seen all of them in a long time because, again, I can't ever seem to get them on DVD for some reason or another. And it's crazy to me that like people like Cinemassacre and whatnot never seem to mention it. Like they'll go in depth about Exorcist. They'll go in depth about Halloween and Black Christmas and all the other like weird like off ones. Why is it that no one talks about Phantasm? And it blows my mind because there are a lot of them. And the gentleman, the guy, the thin man or the tall man, whatever they used to call him, he just died. I think it was last year. If not the year before then. And they were actually working on. He was still involved with the series, and he actually did he filmed it, and then he died. So we'll still see him if they ever release. I think it's Oblivion, I think is what they're calling it. But then that will be like the 5th or the 6th in the series. But for some reason, I remember catching that on TV too. And I don't know. Have you seen that movie, Matt? Any of them?
No, I haven't. I've heard of them.
It sticks in my head because they have these little Jaguar-looking motherfuckers walking around like stealing people, and then there's like the main guy in it has a shotgun with 4 barrels that he makes. And he's like going around, and which is ridiculous in itself. Right?
Nice.
So, but he's going around like shooting them, like every movie you wait for it because he makes improvements. He keeps making this fucking shotgun that you clearly can like only shoot once before it's a pain in the ass to try to reload. You know what I mean? Because it's a breakaway shotgun. So,
Quad-barrel shotgun's a legend. That was always my favorite weapon in Resident Evil 5.
Yeah, but I just get it's so cool. Like I know they have the orbs. That's the one that has the orbs that are flying around and killing people. And then I don't know. It's a pretty badass film. It is kind of campy, but I think it's a great series that no one talks about. I don't know why. It's a terrific series. Everyone else talks about all this other bullshit movies out there. That one should definitely get its time in the sun there.
Also, I know we're low on time, but I would like to throw an honorable mention to Tales from the Crypt. Because Bordello of Blood is the shit. Like, I know fucking Billy Zane, whatever, dude, but some of those have a special place in my heart.
What's wrong with
Tales from the Hood.
What's wrong with Billy Zane? What's wrong with that?
No, I'm just saying, there's a little ridiculous in it, but some of those are just so good.
He was perfect.
I think those definitely qualify as campy horror.
I feel about it. As much as I love the show, besides Demon Knight, I never really caught any of the movies. And I definitely need to remedy that.
There's only 2, right? Or is there more?
I thought
there was Bordello of Blood and Demon Knight. I think that's the only 2.
Oh.
Am I wrong?
The third one.
I believe that's right. I could be wrong though.
Okay.
I don't think. But I'm just saying, if there's I'm only asking. I'm not trying to correct you. Because if there's another one, I want to see it. So maybe I missed it.
No, there's probably only 2. I thought Don said there was a third one. I probably just misheard him.
Yeah. By the way, Billy Zane is badass, by the way, in that movie. So I don't know what Donovan's talking about. It's terrific. I will say Bordello of Blood and the other Demon Knight. I remember watching them both at the same time. I don't know, because we just got in cable. And I have no shame in telling you those movies freaked me out, and I did bust a couple nuts to Bordello of Blood.
Oh my god!
Because I was just around that age. It's a very strange. Exactly. What's her name? The redhead, man. She had nice tits, man. I'm not gonna. It's a weird time, you know what I mean? Because what is it? Horror and sexual excitement are almost like on the same
hand in hand,
hand in hand. And we won't go into that because
meat in hand is what you meant to say.
Exactly. There's some, and I don't want to go too deep because there's some weird shit in there, and I'm not that weird. But I'm just saying, when you're in that 14 to 16-year-old age and you see movies like that, shit gets wild right there. You know what I mean?
Jesus.
Great movies though. I love the series.
Great stuff though.
There's stuff though. Don't get the wrong image.
Good enough I fucking came, but I'll pass them. Like,
and I only say this. Well, no, maybe I shouldn't say that. But I'm talking about when you're in it.
Blood so good I came.
It did, man. And here's the thing, dude. And I don't want to be embarrassing or be gross. I'm just trying to tell the facts. I say that because it's like it's the real deal. Because nowadays, when you do it, it's just like going to the bathroom. You don't miss, you go to the toilet, right? You don't piss yourself, it don't happen, right? But when you don't know what you're doing, sometimes it happens by accident, and those are the ones you remember because that's kind of embarrassing. We're like, what the fuck, man? I was just watching this movie. Shit, I wasn't prepared for that. So that's why I give it a little star in my book there, because it's not like I just watch it and go, oh, let's whip out my pesky and get to work here. You know what I mean? Just happened to happen by accident there. So, and don't give me any of this shit in the chat like I'm a disgusting motherfucker. We all were like 13. We all were 13 and 14 years old and figured out that something was going on and we weren't really in control of it. Women never really had to worry about that shit. So
I don't think that's true at all. Yeah, I definitely.
No comment.
Yeah. Okay, Jason.
Hey, come on, no. What do you mean no comment? Bullshit, dude. You were young. Don't you remember? The wind could blow and you could get an erection. You'd be like, what the fuck? I'm trying to learn social studies and I got a boner and I can't even get up.
Calm down. My no comment is that I think women experience puberty as well. I don't think it's...
No. They experience puberty, but what I'm saying is they don't... It's my understanding, okay, that they
I'm
have...
not going to school you on the horniness of teenage girls.
No. But you may be horny, but you don't have the same kind of problem that happens with us, is what I'm necessarily saying.
I don't think that's true, but it's okay.
What do you mean? What do you mean? Are you telling me that women ejaculate just by happenstance by sitting in a classroom and not really realizing? Oh fuck, man! Shit! I just came in my pants while I'm in social studies.
I hate
I'll
to
be
tell you this,
son of a
panties
bitch.
are a thing.
They are no,
If you
but they
haven't
are.
figured out by now,
No, you
they
can get
are.
them a little bit. Yes, I mean you get there's a little bit to get going and there's the total finish. So I'm just saying I can believe the little bit. I can't believe the finish. Not unless you're not doing something. If you're that good, you don't have to touch yourself and you can just do it on command. Then you should be like shooting ping pongs out your puss so you can get money from at strip clubs and shit. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying. I'm just saying
I
with
love
us.
the tangents that these multi-tap podcasts.
I'm just saying for us. I'm saying this was a
This is
problem.
the real horror. Shit that gets Jason Lewis off.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. God, that was a cruel trick. He played a trick on me. Why did he tell me? If I knew this was going to be a problem, I would have practiced when I was 11. Because this is ridiculous. I'd be like, no, I'm sitting there going, what the fuck, man?
As long as you weren't fapping to Phantasm.
That's the thing, man. No, here's the thing. If I want it to happen, that's fine. But when it happens by accident, that sucks. Okay, because you ruin good pants, you ruin all kinds of things, man.
I don't think that's a problem for everybody, but I'm pretty sure we're about out of time, and that's probably a good place as any to end it.
Yeah, I don't think
exactly. Right? We do need to finish this conversation up. Get the feminist on here. I want to ask them, did they have problems ejaculating in school? Because I don't believe it. That's bullshit.
Oh my god.
That may be true women. That may be true women power.
How the physiology works. Don't worry, Jason. But I think that'll do it for this week's episode of the podcast. We covered a lot on horror and a couple good tangents there. But at this point, why don't we go ahead and do everybody's plugs and all that? Jason, you've been very vocal, so why don't we go ahead and do you first? Do you have anything you want to tease or plug, and where can people find you on social media?
Social media, everyone should know me. I'm in the Arthur X Jason show on YouTube. I also have another page, Rex Banner Project, where I do music remixes, which I just put up a Jim Powers remix, which I've been working on for a long time, which is doing pretty nice. I have Twitter and Facebook, but don't bother contacting me there. Just do it on YouTube. It's much better. One other thing I will note, and before we get on to it, and Don may mention it too, you will, for all those of you who think I'm too salty or old, you will not see me most likely next week. So if you didn't watch this week, then you can watch next week because I won't be on. We'll be probably most likely handing it off to one of our younger junior guys to do possibly a video game music themed show. So I'll let other people come in.
We'll let Nico handle that.
Yeah, I'll let other people come in. I could speak about music because I'm a real musician, but I'm sure he'll select a really good crew to do that. So definitely tune in next week for that. And if you don't like me, then definitely tune in because you won't have me. So.
Okay, well, moving on. Daria, what about you? Do you have anything you want to plug that's coming up and exciting, and where can people find you?
I sure do. You can find me on YouTube. I am Daria Plays. I cover retro RPGs, adventure games, and new indie homebrew classic releases. And that's about it.
Yeah, I really liked your review for the 3 RPGs for men with female leads. I really want to play that Sailor Moon RPG. It looks pretty fun, so definitely go check out her stuff. It's good. And we're happy to have her on here. She's one of the newer members of Multitapped, so it's fun to show her off and get her opinion and all that. And then finally, why don't we move to the man himself, Matt Ezra. What are you got cooking up, and where can people find you?
Well, I mean, of course, first and foremost, YouTube, Cygnus Destroyer 20XX, but just look up LJN Defender. You'll find all my videos that way.
Put it in any of your browsers. He's that big. You can't find LJN Defender.
Defender!
Exactly. There are people over in Greek who know him. Oh, LJN Defender. Yes.
Yep. Yeah, just look up the guy who likes shitty games. You'll probably find him somewhere.
Oh, you'll find another guy. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and then of course Twitter @Cygnus Destroyer. But as far as what I've got coming up, I'm working on the Superman 64 IUPG right now. That's going. That game's kicking my ass right now. I'll
be excited.
Getting to the breaking point. So
are you going to beat it? you gonna try to beat
I'm gonna
it?
try. I'm trying my hardest, but it's getting really tough.
Oh,
And the thing is,
dude.
Sonic
I'm only
06.
about halfway through the game. See, I was done capturing footage last night. I was like, okay, well, I feel like I've gotten pretty far in this. I got to be mostly done, right? Nope, only halfway done. I'm like, son of a bitch. It's like, I don't know. I mean, this one level has just been kicking my ass. Like, that's what I was doing before we got on the podcast. I just can't beat this level right now. It's just, oh, it's so bad. And it's like, I mean, I'm seeing levels in this game that I've never seen before, and I'm seeing more bugs in this game that I've never seen before.
Oh,
Holy
yeah,
hell.
dude.
I went right through the floor at one point. I was like, what the hell just happened?
Dude, I did that. I God bless you, sir, because me and Arthur were fucking flipping out. We probably did the same spot. We fell through the fucking floor, and it ruined like an hour and a half of work. And that's when I was like, fuck it, we're doing the review, because now I'm pissed. But yeah, I get you. Yeah, that's a terrible game.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, I like to be as fair as I can to each game that I cover, but yeah, I mean, what everybody says about that game is pretty much true. I mean, not to spoil the innocent, but who knows? I mean, maybe my opinion could change.
I mean, I would be surprised. Past 06, so...
I doubt it. I doubt it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think this is important to note, though, Ezra. I think your career may be on the line, because I know I've been very vocal in saying you're very lenient on stuff, but then maybe I'm too hard on things. But if I'm just gonna say this and commit it to the void, so to speak, if you give that game a pass, that I may unsub. Because that's just like, I'm just saying, and I will say this something. One other thing, I would like to see, because as that I know of, I'm the only one who's ever done it, and I think it's worth touching on, or at least mentioning.
What's that?
Is checking out and doing a little bit, at least talking about the multiplayer, because that's almost as bad as the fucking game. And most people that I've ever seen don't even talk about the multiplayer game that's associated with it. But I mean, obviously I did it when I was doing my review, but dude, that's like a whole nother shitstorm. That's like, what the hell? I mean, you gotta touch on it, man. You gotta, help your fans realize how big of a piece of shit this is.
Try to look into that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the funny thing about it is that I'm in one of the actual levels in this, for like one of the missions where you have to like rescue Lois.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been playing this one level for like 2 hours, and I'm like, I hate this fucking level. I'll say, I mean, you're not gonna hear that on my YouTube channel, but I'll say I hate that fucking level. And it's like, the way I was looking at it is like, the ring parts, that would almost be a treat compared to that level, because it's so cheap. It's like, oh my god, I shouldn't have died there. Screw you, game.
Yeah.
It's like, oh.
That brings up a good point. I don't want you to give everything away, but you can just say it real quick on there. Do you believe the ring parts are actually that bad?
No.
Exactly. There you go.
No.
I've said it too. The ring parts are not. Anyone who thinks
the ring parts are totally manageable.
Yeah.
You just got to keep on practicing it. They're not bad.
It isn't bad. People won't even want to play that game because they think it's shitty because people talk about the rings so much. You can play through the game. The problem is the bugs. The rings have no problem. I mean, don't even if you can't do the fucking rings.
I mean, the ring parts can be tricky, but they're not. But they're like the least hardest part of the game.
The point of it is, it's like, if you got problems with the fucking rings, did you ever play any other N64 games? There were problems with steering all over the place for all of them. So clearly, you've never done it. So I'm sorry, I didn't want to monopolize your time, Matt. But
that's fine. I didn't want to give too much away anyway for the video, because I'll go all about it.
No, yeah.
And I would be surprised if you passed it. You passed 06 and you passed Boom, so I would be totally flabbergasted. And then, as far for me, because I think I'm the last one out of the four of us, I primarily do esports stuff. I stream with my buddy Veritech almost every day. Right now, I'm doing a lot of stuff with Overwatch and Heroes of the Storm. But otherwise, you can find me on Twitter over at OldOneeye. And then also the big thing that's coming soon, I guess my sneak peek is I sort of got involved in Multitapped back when I did a little project called No Clip Gaming. I had like daily uploads for a year, 2 months, something like that. And I just finished setting up another channel for OldOneeye Gaming. So I'm working on some stuff, and hopefully soon we might be seeing a new channel from me. So that's coming down the pipes on my end. But as far as that goes, I think this was a pretty good episode. I am finally glad to sink my teeth into some horror with you, Matt. I know it's a great subject for you. It's one of your favorite things.
It is, absolutely.
So
love horror films.
Thank you, everybody, for being here and participating, especially Daria. And thanks, chat. And we will see you guys next week.
Yep. Later.
Night.
Bye, everyone.